And welcome to the regular scheduled meeting of the Birmingham City Council of September 21st, 2021. We're going to have our invocation by Councilor Woods and our Pledge of Allegiance by Councilor Hunter Williams. So,
Please
good morning.
stand. While everybody's standing, real quick, just wanted to thank everybody here on the Council, City Hall, everybody that reached out over the last few weeks, and also the community, man. We got a ton of love and support to me and my family, so I do want to say thank you for that. If everybody could bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you for our opportunity to be here this morning, Lord. Just thank you for our opportunity to serve, Lord. We thank you for the wisdom that we request from you, Lord, to make the proper decisions at the proper time, Lord. We just ask that you continue to watch over this city. Give everybody proper judgment as we navigate through the rest of this pandemic, Lord. Just watch over us. Keep us safe, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Attention, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, Mr. Clark.
Good morning, sir.
How you doing?
Pretty good. Let's go. Councilmember Abbott.
Present.
Councilmember Hilliard. Councilmember Hoyt. Councilmember O'Quinn. Councilmember Smitherman.
Good morning.
Morning. Councilmember Williams.
Good morning.
Morning. Councilmember Woods.
Present.
Council President Pro Tem Alexander.
Good morning, President.
Good morning. Council President Park.
Good morning. Good morning. All right, the minutes are not ready for May 4th through September 14th, 2021. And real briefly, also we'll do a resolution, but City of Mobile's City Council President passed away, Mr. Manzi. He was the Council President, I think he was 38 years old, passed away on Sunday. And so our thoughts and prayers are with the City of Mobile and with the Manzi family. So I just wanted to share that. Yeah. Sir?
No, he's my fraternity brother.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, good morning, Chief. How you doing?
Good morning, Mr. President, Madam Pro Tem, members of the council, members of the public. Mr. President, there's no mayor's report for today.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Clerk, we go through the consent agenda real quick.
Consent agenda starts on page 2 with item 2. Let me skip over to page 16. We have item 3 on consent. Page 19, we pick back up with items 5 and 6. Page 20, we have items 7, 8, 9, and 10 on consent. Page 21, we have items 11, 12, and 13 on consent. Page 22, we have items 14, 15, and 16 on consent. Page 23, items 17, 18, and 19 are on consent. Page 24, we have items 20, 21, and 22 on consent. Page 25, items 23, 24, and 25 are on consent. Page 26, items 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30 are on consent. Page 27, we have items 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35 on consent. Page 28, we have items 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40 on consent. Page 29, we have items 41, 42, 43, 44, and 45 on consent. Page 30, we have items 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50 on consent. Page 31, we have items 51, 52, 53, 54, and 55 on consent. Page 32, we have items 56, 57, and 58 on consent. Mr. President, please note that on item number 56, some language change, the resolution as well as the synopsis. We'll pick up on the third line, and that should read lowest responsible and responsive bidder. That same language should translate over to the resolution itself. That's lowest responsible and responsive bidder. It's on item 56. Page 33, we have items 59, 60, 61, and 62 on consent. Page 34, we have items 63, 64, 65, and 66 on consent. Page 35, we have items 67 and 68 on consent. Then we skip over to page 36, and we conclude with items 71, 72, and 73.
All right. Councilor Williams, Councilor Wood, you good? Okay.
I would like to remove items 17 and 19 on page 23, item 56 on page 32.
Hold 1 second, Councilor.
Can you hold on?
Oh, sorry.
All right, 17, 19.
17 and 19 on page 23,
Okay,
56 on page 32,
56. All right.
and 61 and 62 on page 33.
56, 61, and 62.
And that's all. Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Hoyt.
Oh, and there was one other thing on item 7. I think that there's a dollar amount correction that needs to be made. I think it should be $71,770.91 to match item 6. Possibly. Unless that's the 10%.
I don't see any. Is it? It looks. The original looks like $7,177.09.
Is that the match to the one previous? Okay, thank you. Never mind.
So it stays. Okay. Councilor Hoyt.
Yes, good morning, Mr. President. Item 15 and 16.
Page.
I'm sorry, 22. I think that's all I have, sir.
Okay. All right. All right, I wanted to add 69 and 70. That's the travel. I think it was left off the consent agenda.
70?
67 and 69 and 70.
Page.
35.
35. All right. All items designated as consent are routine and non-controversial and will be approved by one motion. No separate discussion of these items will be permitted unless a council member, the mayor, or citizen interested in a public hearing so requests. If so, such item or items will revert to its normal place on the agenda order of business. All matters of permanent operation will be read. All other matters will be announced by reading the item number only. All public hearings will be announced.
Hold on.
Second.
All right, yeah. Councilor Pro Tem Alexander and Councilor Williams. Voting should be open in our Councilor here is not in. Councilor Quinn, how would you like to vote? I haven't put you in yet.
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
And yes for me.
Okay.
Well, okay.
That vote should be up.
Okay, all right. Consent agenda passes. All righty, first item.
All righty.
Board, please.
Let's see. First item should be item 1. A public show cause hearing to consider the matter of revoking the business license issued to Blue Chip Hotels Assets Group Birmingham East LLC, doing business as USA Economy Lounge at 7441 Crestwood Boulevard, Birmingham, Alabama 35210. Okay, I'm sorry. I need to read the rest of this, I guess. This is a public hearing item. Any persons who wish to speak for or against this item may do so by joining the meeting of the full council using the link provided. Please use the hand raise function on WebEx to request to speak to this agenda item. Audio conference US number is 1415-655-0002. Access code is 146-230-4681. If you are calling via telephone, please press *3 to request to speak to this agenda item.
Okay. Do we have the item before us now?
Yes, sir.
Councilor Williams?
All right, thank you, Mr. President. I think how we're going to proceed with this item is I'm going to let City Attorney King introduce the item on behalf of the City of Birmingham. We then will allow Birmingham Police Department to make their case. Then we will allow the group, Blue Chip Hotels and their counsel to make their case. Then we will hear from the public, and then we will allow our colleagues to answer any questions that they might have or give any comments that they might have. So, Ms. King.
Thank you, Councilor Williams. So regarding item 1, the council have before you a memorandum from Attorney Julie Bernard detailing the standard for revocation of business licenses. You also have a series of police reports before you, as well as photos. We are asking the council to consider actions within the last 6 months related to the police reports, and I'll go ahead and have Detective Pitts come up from the Birmingham Police Department. Detective Pitts, if you can tell the council the type of incidents and reports detailed regarding this location.
Thank you. Good morning, Council.
Morning.
At USA Economy Lodge, 7941 Crestwood Boulevard, there were 151 calls and 46 reports generated from February the 2nd, 2021 to August the 8th, 2021. Now those calls, there were 7 of theft of property, there were 4 of loitering on the property, there were 9 person down, which all 9 were overdoses. There were 5 a person with a warrant. There were 13 a disorderly person. There were 1 domestic. There were 26 trespassing. There were 3 calls for a person with a gun. There were 1 mentally disturbed person. There were 1 unclassified death. There were 2 search warrants at this location. There were 3 calls for suspicious person. There were 1 call for prostitution. There were 1 call for indecent exposure. There were 1 call for drugs found on the property. There were 1 call for assault. There were 1 call for a recovered vehicle. 1 for intoxicated person. And there were 44 calls for miscellaneous unknown calls. Miscellaneous calls are calls that are unknown or not classified until the officer get to the location. So once the officer get to the location, then they could determine what type of call it is. So most of the miscellaneous calls don't have reports. So I pulled the 911 calls for most of them. On February 28th, the complainant stated he believes there is prostitution and drugs being sold at this location. The complainant stated the caller watched the activity all day and has a map drawn out if the officers need it. On March 1st, the complainant stated he has been watching drug sales for 3 days out of a room at the location. On March 5th, the complainant stated the customer is refusing to pay for a cab service The white male went inside the location to get money and never returned. On May 21st, the complainant said that someone called and said he was being threatened by the neighbor with a gun in room 18A, located on the front side of the building. On May 9th, the complainant stated there's a group of people hanging out in the back of the location, unknown if they are using drugs. The complainant said that none of them have a room at the location. On May 14th, the complainant stated there is an unwanted person on the property and they need to leave. White female and a black male. And the complainant stated that the room is known to be a drug dealer. What the complainant stated that the male is known to be a drug dealer. On May 16th, the complainant stated that a male at the office, the clerk, threatened his life. The complainant stated that the male has a gun behind the counter. On May 26th, the complainant stated the manager pulled up with attitude, stated someone went back and told her that he said something about her. And the complainant stated the manager told him to go and dig his dead mother out of the grave and told the complainant she would get someone to come and do something to him. On June 4th, the complainant stated a male half naked walking around the property. Black male wearing navy blue pants, possibly intoxicated. June 21st, the complainant stated a female, Ms. Sykes, is prostituting in the room. On July 6th, the complainant states someone keeps coming in her room without her permission, unknown if anything missing. July 6th, the complainant stated he will tell officer what's going on when they arrive. Male is being very loud and saying officers better hurry before he goes to jail. No room number given. On July 8th, the caller stated he requested an officer location. Caller stated black female, white female are having an altercation. Caller stated the black female has a knife and the subject is in room 351. Caller stated the black female pulled a knife at the white female. On July 18th, the caller stated to request an officer location, and there's a white male beating on everyone's door. On July 27th, a possible overdose and medics notified. And last, July 30th, a white male, red shirt, red hat, blue short pants, down and jumping in front of traffic. Again, council, that was within the 6 months of February the 2nd, 2021, August the 8th, 2021, 151 calls and 46 reports generated.
All right, thank you, Detective Pitts. At this time, we will hear from the representation or the members of the Blue Chip Hotel Group. Do I? I'll let them go with the public. Good morning. If you'll state your name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. My name is Josh Hornady. I'm an attorney with the Sorority Law Firm and am representing the business, doing business as USA Economy Lodge on Crestwood Boulevard. Ms. Garner, are those slides available?
Can you speak up, sir? Speaking to the mic.
And I will try to speak up. I'm not used to being in a penalty box.
So I have to ask, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to do a video or a slideshow or pictures, or what are we? Okay.
I've just handed Ms. King hard copies of the slide presentation, just because I think visuals will be helpful as we walk through what my clients learned over these last 6 weeks. Admittedly, things they probably should have known before, but they've come to be aware of and have taken steps to address. And that is the thrust of our presentation today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sparks. As mentioned, my name is Josh Hornady with the Cerroti Law Firm. I represent USA Economy Lodge. It's located here on Crestwood Boulevard, and this is a photo of that building as of, I believe, this weekend. If we could go to the next slide, please. Today, we'd like to address the location and an overview of the property to introduce you to it. We haven't had a chance to do that yet, but we'd like you to be aware of where this property is and the challenges that it faces that enlighten our approach to how to deal with the issues presented. We also want to present a long-term plan because we realize that Band-Aids are not a solution to the issues that have been raised. And we want to demonstrate to you, members of the council, and to the citizens of Birmingham that my client is involved, is dedicated, and committed, despite the past record, to change the practice at this location. And we hope through this presentation we can demonstrate that to you today, both through long-term planning, short-term security plans, and our investigation into understanding the root causes of these issues. My associate, colleague, Ms. Wando Amwa, will go over the long-term plan, and then Mr. Mehta, who is the general manager of the company, will also address you. I'll then walk you through our investigation and findings as we see it based on the information that we've been provided by the city. Unfortunately, crime information is not easily accessible from the city, and so we have to rely on publicly available information as well as the reports that we were given. Based on that information and our consulting with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office and former Birmingham PD, we think we've developed a very robust safety plan, improved policies, and short-term improvements to the property as we move to a long-term transition. And finally, we want to emphasize our commitment to the neighborhood, something that admittedly has not occurred over the last year and a half. The property, like many properties, commercial properties here in Birmingham, is owned by an out-of-state entity. And during the time of COVID with limited travel, that's presented unique challenges that unfortunately are highlighted in today's hearing. That's not acceptable to my client, it's not acceptable to me, and it shouldn't be acceptable to you, but we will make this right, and that's what we plan to address today. Next slide, please. This is an aerial. It shows the location of the property between Crestwood Boulevard and Montevallo Drive, just as you approach I-20, as Crestwood goes under I-20. There's, in fact, I think only one parcel between this property and the city of Irondale, just on the other side of I-20. Down the street is Putnam Middle School, and across from Putnam Middle School is the Comfort Inn, directly across the street there, just to give you an idea. If you go north from the Comfort Inn, there's on this map, the Birmingham Garden Inn and Suites. That has now been demolished and is being built into the VA clinic on Crestwood Boulevard. And as of yesterday, it looked like construction was near complete. Next slide, please. The building you saw on the first slide was originally built in the 60s. The second building, there are two, was actually built, I think, in the 70s, according to the tax records. Our client didn't own it the whole time. In fact, we've learned that, I believe it was a Sheraton, and that this property actually has a unique history in the city of Birmingham, something that the city and its neighbors, its residents, and the state of Alabama should be proud of. Something that is not consistent with the pattern that has occurred over the recent time period, but something that does need to be highlighted, I think, and inform us as we go forward. This hotel was actually used by the University of Alabama football team, and Coach Bear Bryant stayed there along with the football team when they came to Birmingham to play in the Iron Bowl. There's a conference room and a ballroom named for him in this hotel. Those are things that our client did not know about, I didn't know about, but things that we think should inform us, because though I'm an Auburn fan, I think the Bear would have higher standards than the use of this property currently. And so that informs us as we move forward looking at this. The building has 6 full-time staff members, all of which are Birmingham residents. And there's also a full-time site manager who is on site daily. This property actually generates annual tax revenues of over $120,000. Admittedly, not the greatest tax generator, but it is contributing to the community. What we don't want is it also draining as much or more than it's contributing, and so that's what we will address. As of September 20th, yesterday, 120 of the 200 rooms were rented with 160 total guests, just to give you an idea of this property. Ms. Anwar will now address the long-term plan for this property, and then Mr. Mehta, the general manager, will also address you, and then I'll come back and walk through our investigation and our plan for change. Thank you.
Good morning, Council, and thank you for this opportunity to represent our client. My name is Wando Anwar, and I will be, like Josh said, speaking to you about our long-term plan moving forward. So when assessing the short-term security needs, our client also examined the future of this property in the neighborhood. An aging building built in the 1960s, changes in the hospital industry, neighborhood revitalization, a need for improved security measures, and the affordable housing crisis all point towards redeveloping this property. Over the next year, our client plans to redevelop the property into affordable multifamily housing. As this council is well aware, housing insecurity is currently at an all-time high, as well as the likelihood of eviction. And in addition, the minority population is rapidly decreasing in Birmingham since 2010. This is a result of many contributing factors, including the COVID-19 virus and gentrification. The city is revitalizing, which is great, but at the expense of those who made it what it is, the Magic City. The new condo and lot developments are beautiful. However, they are not cost efficient for many Birmingham residents, especially the minority population. Our client would like to remedy this concern and currently has in hand a contract to sell the property and redevelop into affordable housing. They plan to immediately begin working with the purchaser on diligence and feasibility, and the project would commence after the purchase is completed with a 2-phase conversion of the existing buildings into multifamily apartments, with the goal of the first phase being completed by the summer of 2022 and fully converted by 2023, as you can see in the graph. And I'll pass it to our client.
Hello, good morning. My name is Neil Mehta. I'm the managing member of the business which owns and operates the USA Economy Lodge at 7941 Crestwood Boulevard, Birmingham. So to tell you a little bit about ourselves, I'm a second-generation hotelier. My parents immigrated here seeking a better life. Same thing with my partners. We're minority owned. We've always tried to do the right thing, both in business, ethics, and it's done well for us. It's unfortunate that this situation has occurred, and we're here to remedy it. And I assure you we will continue to work diligently to rectify the situation and demonstrate our commitment to being a good neighbor. And this committee required to ask ourselves, what are our long-term goals? And as you heard, I'm happy to report that we're working on plans to convert this to a multifamily housing to meet the need in the city. Not luxury apartments or condominiums, but affordable housing, because that's what we need. We are happy now to be under contract to transfer this property in 2022 for that purpose, with a goal of conversion to be completed by mid-2022. While that long-term plan is crucial, I want to address what brought us here today. When we heard of these allegations, we were taken aback. How could this gross oversight have happened? We questioned our managing partner, the general manager, and the staff. We have never been once in this situation. We were angry. Cooler heads prevailed. We went to work. After I received the notice of the Public Safety Committee meeting, I hopped in the first plane here. We hired our attorney. We quickly gathered information to prepare. Mind you, this is within 48 hours of the notice and 3 business days from the meeting. After we left the meeting, I was speechless. I was blindsided. I was dumbfounded. Here I sat, just listening to another business, had shootouts, deaths, get a slap on the wrist. Our case came up and it was flooded with information. Information not in the notice we received. I didn't know where to begin. I very much would have preferred to have these facts beforehand and work with the city well before to avoid taking up your important time in this meeting. I do not know where the breakdown in communication is, but I take full responsibility for the condition of the hotel. I and my partners now have been to the property multiple times in the last 6 weeks to assess the needs and interview our staff. Our attorney has been there multiple times and interviewed the staff as well. We have worked to investigate the allegations, address concerns, and present a path forward which confirms our commitment to being a good neighbor and a partner to the city, enabling this proposed transformation to occur. After reviewing the reports we were given, it was clear we had changes to make. Many, if not majority, of the calls were from our team and our security guards, usually unrelated to guests not staying at our hotel. Over half the trespass calls, these are the people who we do not want at the property and are refusing to leave. Through these policy changes, we increase security, site upgrades, and deterring bad actors from coming to your property. Mind you, this is a few weeks from now, so a lot of things are not perfect. We're getting there. Things are on order. Unfortunately, a lot of things are in back order, but we will get there. Unfortunately, during COVID, again, travel ban, things went on the radar. We apologize because before COVID, I was here. It was not like this. But that's not an excuse. We have hired a former BPD officer as security consultant and are working closely with the sheriff's office to accomplish this goal. We're also working with the city attorney to implement a plan. Our licensed private security vendor has gone from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. to 24/7 on-site security. We added a courtesy number for our guests to call with non-emergency concerns. We upgraded lighting. We are adding additional cameras, license plate readers linked to the real-time crime center. We have raised our rates to deter people with ulterior motives and have instituted a parking pass and towing system. We changed the visitor policy from now excluding all unregistered guests at all times and perform daily room checks of all 200 rooms. We are working with the sheriff's office on sting operations to deter crime in the area. While our work is not complete, I assure you it is robust, and we will finish the task. And let me be clear, crime will not be tolerated at our business. To date, we have spent over $100,000 on security improvements in the last few weeks and plan to do much more in the further. We have power washed the building, upgraded fencing and exterior appearances. We're also working on interior improvements to continue to transform this property. Allowing us to continue to operate this plan will avoid termination of employees, turning over 150 guests out to the streets, and adding another blighted and abandoned property to this neighborhood. We do not want that result, and our plan demonstrates our commitment to avoid it. Rather, we want to partner with the city, neighborhood, and our purchaser to transform this property into a long-term good. We're not asking for special treatment, but fair and equal treatment to continue this plan into action as we work to transform this property. I'm regretful for the circumstances, but confident that we're presenting a plan which works for the long-term good of Birmingham, its residents, and our neighborhood. Thank you. I'd like to turn this over to Josh.
Thank you, Mr. Mehta. If we could pull up, I believe we're on slide 6. I wanted to emphasize this. The client yesterday actually signed a contract to sell this property so that it can be converted into a multifamily unit. Slide 6 details the timeline. So we have a 4 to 6 month diligence period with the purchaser so that they can confirm that this property is suitable for redevelopment, or at least for their needs. Now, you may ask, as I would, what do you do if the purchaser backs out? And my client has assured me that they plan to redevelop this property, whether it's through this purchaser, another purchaser, or their own financing that they line up. But they are committed that business as usual is not going to cut it in this case. After closing, there will be obviously a pre-construction 1 to 2 month planning phase so that plans can be prepared, and then they will pull permits in month 3. By month 12, the purchaser intends to complete the transformation of the first building into multifamily units. On this timeline, before the end of next summer or early fall, likely they will have tenants moving in rather than hotel guests. Within 18 months, the conversion should be complete of both buildings. In the meantime, my client has an obligation to keep this property safe, to reduce the need for Birmingham resources to support it, and to demonstrate to you, the council, to the city of Birmingham, and to the neighborhood that it is committed to bridging this transformation into something that is more fitting and appropriate for this revitalizing neighborhood. Next slide, please. As you heard from Mr. Mehta, the ownership unfortunately was taken by surprise, which raises a lot of concerns. Is the on-site manager appropriate? Is the on-site security appropriate? And is the lack of visiting this property during the pandemic appropriate? And the answer likely is no, and we're working to address those needs. But what it did require was for me and the ownership to work together to investigate the allegations, as well as the evidence that we were presented from the city, the police reports, to speak to consultants and professionals in the city in the security and law enforcement space, and understand the needs of this neighborhood and of crime generally. Again, these owners are not from Birmingham, they're not from Alabama, and unfortunately we do have some issues that this council, and I know the Birmingham Police Department, are working very hard to address. But like most metros in the country, unfortunately, we are all facing and dealing with these issues. Business owners are no different, and just because they live out of state, they should not be treated differently. And so that's why we did such a vigorous investigation. As you heard, we had multiple site inspections. I myself have been to the property 4 times in the last month. The owners have been there as many times. We interviewed both the owners and myself separately, the on-site staff and the manager on site, and we looked at local trends, newspaper reports, BPD reports, press releases, to try to see where is crime occurring, where is it moving, what type of crime, so that we can get a handle around the situation. Not just what's going on at our location, but generally, so that we can understand the issues. And we also reviewed the property. I've met with Jefferson County Sheriff's Office deputies at the property to walk it and review security concerns. We've also had Gory Regan, a security contractor out there, walked it with them as well, as recently as last week, with a proposal pending from them. We are working diligently and quickly to address these needs and understand the situation. And so what did our investigation reveal? Next slide, please. I'll be candid, the numbers that Detective Hicks, and I believe they are correct, are slightly different than the numbers that were presented at the Public Safety Committee hearing, and are also different than the numbers that we were given and the reports we were provided. Of the reports we were provided, we had 51, about 8 were duplicates. So excluding those, some were also outside the 6-month notice period. But we still looked into them, and those are legitimate reports, those are legitimate concerns that need to be rectified. As you heard, over half, Detective Hicks and my client both said, over half of these calls are trespassers. These are people we don't want on the property. They're not guests. They're coming onto the property for ulterior motives. They're bad actors. They're people that we don't want, and so we need to address a deterrence issue. We have a deterrence problem. That's what that highlighted. The reports also highlighted a number of non-emergency calls. Often there were social work type calls, domestic arguments, not violent, arguments, questions about a protection from abuse order, things of that nature. There were also complaints about other guests or people who weren't guests but were on the property. Those are non-emergency situations, and those should be dealt with by the property first. And so we've addressed that issue. I also want to note that at this property, you've not heard violent crime. You've not heard about shootings. There are no homicide investigations at this property currently. And so thankfully, we have escaped having anything that serious occur here. But the number of calls and the type of calls are serious and do need to be addressed. We also looked at crime trends and an assessment of the neighborhood. And what that highlighted to us is there is a proximity of this property to high crime areas. In fact, Jefferson County Sheriff's deputies confirmed to me that this is a known destination. This part of Crestwood Boulevard is a known destination for people from other parts of the city to come and complete their illegitimate transactions and then return somewhere else. Again, that highlights a deterrence need. There are also multiple vacant or raised properties in the area. In fact, the property just west of ours, directly abutting my client's property, is a raised building. It's fenced in, it's abandoned, there's no landscaping, there's no upkeep. It's an abandoned property. The property just to the east, bordering between our client's property and Irondale, is a garage with no lighting, no security, no one there after hours. And then, as highlighted at the Public Safety Committee meeting and just common sense, the proximity to Putnam Middle School is an issue. Of course, no one wants crime near their children's school or in their neighborhood. So, next slide, please. As part of the investigation, I wanted to share with my client the proximity, as noted earlier and by our security consultant and sheriff's deputies that we met with, that this property is very close to Gate City, East Lake, Wahoma, and Southeast Lake. Over the last 4 years, there were 43 homicides in less than 2 miles of this property. Now, again, thankfully, no homicides have occurred at this property, but homicides, I think, can be an indicator of the crime in an area. And it is the most readily accessible, publicly available statistic that we can get. It does inform us that we are near crime, and crime does clearly travel to this area. Next slide, please. There are also a number of vacant properties, as noted by interviews from Birmingham Police Department and the Birmingham Fire Department. Vacant properties can increase crime in an area. They can increase the need for emergency calls, and they are problematic. Just a quick count noted 6 properties currently listed for sale within a mile of this property. Many are abandoned, closed restaurants. There are also lots that are not listed for sale, as we noted, like the one that's just adjacent. Next slide, please. We also looked at crime at businesses over the last year. What crime is occurring, at least that we can get a record of, and it's mostly violent crime. Where? Well, just a few weeks ago on August 28th, there was a shooting at Tin Roof, which is in the Lakeview neighborhood.
Mr. Hornady, I hate to interrupt you, but we need to move it along. We want you to be able to express your client's points, but pointing out where there's shootings across the city of Birmingham is off topic here. Can we please stay to the topic of this specific property? And you know, we've been very generous. You know, usually we have a time restriction where we give you guys usually 3 to 5 minutes. However, we've been very generous, so we're going to continue that generosity, but let's keep to the actual subject matter here.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate your generosity to present my client's case in full, in their full defense of the allegations. Next slide, please. This does address the property directly. It is 1,000 feet, give or take, from Putnam Middle School. That is about 3 football fields. Putnam Middle School is uphill and to the west, across the street, if that makes sense. Next slide, please. These next 2 photos, the next 2 slides, show the view from the front of Putnam Middle School. The first at the sign. As you can see, clearly the Comfort Inn across the street. Far down the street, you can see the VA clinic being built, and then even farther, you can see the top of my client's location. Next slide, please. This is a panoramic from the top of the sidewalk in the parking lot at Putnam Middle School. As you can tell, as you get closer to the school, which is set back from the road, there is a stand of trees to the west side between Putnam Middle School and my client's property. Now, I'm not saying that the things going on my client's property are acceptable because the children can't see it, but I am saying the allegation that children are seeing lewd or inappropriate behavior from 1,000 feet away may not be as credible. And so we do have to keep in mind that these are allegations. The evidence that we have before us are a number of calls to a location. And so that is what my client seeks to address, the calls and the people who are coming on site. Next slide, please. And one more, please. Thank you. And so based on this assessment, based on all of this information, my client saw a need to upgrade security, as you heard, from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. with a private security contractor to full-time, 24/7. That is a clear need, and that had to happen. That is in place and has been for the last 3 weeks. They also noted that lighting needed to be upgraded, and so that has been repaired and upgraded as well. We instituted a courtesy officer phone number. And so this is something that guests can call if it's a non-emergency situation to try to decrease the number of calls to Birmingham Police Department. If they're concerned about noise from a neighboring room, they can call this number. If they're concerned about a trespasser on site or someone who is concerning to them or maybe threatening or menacing looking, call this number first. We'll have our security officer deal with the situation, and if it's an emergency situation, police will be called. Additionally, the client has instituted a parking pass system. Without a pass, your car will be towed from this property. They towed a number of vehicles about 2 weeks ago, and every vehicle on property now must have a parking pass. The pass must match the tag, and the tag must be to the registered guest. If you don't have a valid tag, you do not get a parking pass, and you cannot park on this property. They also made some policy and procedure changes dealing with how guests are handled and staff. They increased their rates twice over the last 3 months, and they have now met the market rate. They've tested and repaired all door locks, not just guest rooms, but all locks on the facility. And they've rectified issues of actual or suspected code violations. If there are any further violations, my client will immediately rectify them as they have in the past. And they have worked proactively to clear up any debris, overgrown brush, or chipped paint. Anything that could be possibly a violation, they've been working diligently over the last 3 weeks to fix. They've also power washed the complete exterior. It actually is a different color than I first went there. Next slide, please. And so they've completed these steps. Next slide, please. This demonstrates the parking lot lighting and a picture taken this weekend showing that those lights are now working. I don't have a picture of each light pole, and I don't think the chairman would like me to share that with you. But those are working. They are also updating all of the exterior building-mounted lighting. Unfortunately, light bulbs are one of the many things that COVID has delayed, and so those, I believe, were delivered this weekend and installed. Next slide, please. This gives you an example of the courtesy officer number and also the parking pass. I'm not just saying this. This is pictures taken this weekend of things that are in action. Next slide, please. My clients also improved the check-in procedure. Originally, on the left side, you saw a lodging agreement. This has been in place since my client purchased the property in 2017. You'll notice that, among other things, it prohibits unregistered guests. It has very strict requirements on parking and the use of your automobile, and on your conduct on property. Unfortunately, these rules were not strictly enforced. They are now. It's a one strike and you're out policy. They've also, as part of the check-in procedure, required, as previously, that each guest must be registered. There are no unknown guests on the property. You can't have a friend come over and stay in your room without checking in. Guests must sign and initial all the terms of the lodging agreement, including a no drug policy. There's also signage posted highlighting many of these requirements. A valid photo ID must be presented and is copied into the file. The photo ID must match the registered guest. No cash is accepted to pay for rooms. The form of payment must match the registered guest and the photo ID provided. A parking pass is issued to the vehicles, and they are informed of the courtesy officer number in hopes that they will call that number first. Next slide, please. To improve compliance, management has retrained all on-site staff. Every room is now checked daily. Every single room, all 200, are checked daily, and a report is sent to management. As mentioned, the rates have been increased and no cash is being accepted. There's a prohibition on staying at the motel beyond 30 days. Over the course of their 5-year ownership, this property has transitioned from a traditional motel to a more long-term stay property. The goal is to rectify that situation and realign it with a traditional motel as they bridge the gap between today and redevelopment. Again, no visitors. The previous policy was 7 to 7 no visitors. It's now all day, no visitors on site. You must be a registered guest. The guests were notified in writing of policy changes and of the strict enforcement terms. There are trespass and parking violation logs that are kept daily and sent to management. The staff, as mentioned, were retrained on all policies, and the trash is cleared from the site multiple times daily, and the manager walks the property daily to spot any issues, code violations, or anything out of the ordinary. Next slide, please. We're also working with Ms. King, as well as the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, to address issues. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, as soon as they have available deputies, will begin performing the night shift. That will be 2 deputies on site every night. They're also assisting with site security assessments, and my client has agreed to participate and make their property available for any special operations that the Sheriff's Department wishes to run to further deter crime in the area. The fencing will be upgraded. The fencing across the front and the side of the entrance, the west side, will be extended to the road, so that the property will have 1 ingress-egress, and there will be flock cameras. These are cameras that can read tags and track anyone coming in or going out of the property in any vehicle. Those cameras will be installed as soon as possible. As you, I'm sure, are aware, construction companies are hard to come by, as are materials, but we are working to get that lined up as soon as possible. These cameras will interface with the Real-Time Crime Center and the Sheriff's Metro Area Crime Center so that law enforcement can be aware of any bad actors coming onto the property in their vehicle. There were also allegations of prostitution and human trafficking. And these are very sensitive issues. I have a daughter and cannot imagine. My client equally takes that extremely seriously. Of all the things alleged, that may be the most important. And so we dug in as deep as we could on that allegation. We can't find evidence of it. Someone suspected it, but we cannot find evidence of it. And the tenant mix or the guest mix at this property does not align with that allegation. You have over 50% of the folks there are living there at this point. They're down on their luck. They're often retired. They may be former military. They're living off of social help. And they don't have anywhere else to go. Those are not the type of people caught up in that allegation, but nonetheless, we've addressed it. Before the allegation, when my client first purchased the property, everyone on site underwent human trafficking certification. They're now retraining the staff on that issue, as well as posting posters and information throughout the property to raise awareness to spot it if it occurs. It's a known issue in the industry, and so we want to take steps to get ahead of it. Clients also perform capital improvements and will continue to do so to further beautify the property as it transitions to the new owner and to a multifamily configuration. They're committed to neighborhood outreach in the near term to make sure that the neighborhood's issues are heard and addressed. Next slide, please. And so that commitment to the neighborhood includes regular inspections by the ownership group. No more of this taking time off for COVID. And daily reporting from the on-site team to management of the conditions on site. They will continue to improve the beautification and appearance. They are committed to attending the Eastwood Neighborhood Association meetings. And in fact, I believe Mr. Mehta attended by phone the meeting just recently. They've requested a meeting with the association president and look forward to meeting with him to hear his concerns and those concerns that he's heard. A scheduled meeting is in place with the Putnam Middle School principal, who is a neighbor, down the street neighbor, and my client has committed to donating 2,000 masks to that school as an in-kind goodwill gesture to the neighborhood. That's not to cover up what we've done. That's not to say that that's an acceptable offering for the issues that have been raised, but that's to say we want to do better, we want to make this right, and we want to demonstrate that both through the changes on the property and the changes in how we support and communicate with the neighborhood. There's a continued commitment to law enforcement partnerships and consulting. We look forward to working with BPD, if possible, to do that. We will continue to work with the Sheriff's Office, particularly while they are on site every night. They will be sending reports daily to the management, both here and nationally, so that everyone is aware of any issues that they see. Calls will be logged by law enforcement. Any bad actors whose tags are hit on a database will be flagged and they will be made aware, and they will also institute an automatic towing system so that anyone who is not a registered guest, their vehicle will be towed unless management on site says otherwise. Automatically, the tow truck just shows up. And there's finally a continued commitment to redeveloping this property. Again, my client sees that these changes are not sustainable given the current configuration of the property, the guest mix, and its age. It needs to be redeveloped, and so they're committed to doing that, whether that be through the purchase contract that they have in hand, signed, and plan to implement as soon as possible, or that be through another buyer or partner or on their own, but they are committed to doing that and doing that as quickly as possible. Development does take time, but they do not want this property to become another abandoned, blighted property. If their license is revoked, I'll be frank, it likely will end up being a bank-owned property. That's not a great result for the neighborhood, but you do have before you today an owner who is committed to making this right and to doing right. We look forward to your questions and comments.
Let me ask you real quick before
Yes,
I
sir.
turn it over. If it's going to be abandoned, but you say you have a contract to sell it, so how's it going to be abandoned?
The terms of the contract require that the property continue to operate through the transition of phase one. Those are the terms that they struck. We're not the buyer, but the contract that I reviewed yesterday requires that the property continue to operate. The other thing is there's an extended diligence period so that the buyer can confirm that this property is suitable for the redevelopment that they plan. That would require my client to carry the debt for at least 4 months. If they can't operate, then they cannot sustain that debt for that period of time.
And so you said the effort was to redevelop it into affordable housing.
That's right.
Okay.
As opposed to
Just
condominiums, luxury apartments, things like that.
And so at this time, I think that I want to hear, Chief, is there any way the members of the public can speak before BPD speaks? Is that fine? Or do y'all have somewhere to go? Maybe you could slip them a little overtime. All right. So, yeah, Clint, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Real quick, just want to ask two clarifying questions. One, I think you mentioned the cameras that y'all have in relation to the real-time crime center. Have you actually had conversations with BPD?
Not BPD. We are working with Ms. King's office to interface with BPD. We have confirmed with the Sheriff's Department that these would be accessible by the real-time crime center as well as the MAC.
Okay.
Ms. King, can you speak to that?
Yes, so we have met with Attorney Hornady, but we have not confirmed or finalized anything.
Okay. Thank you. Also want to ask, are you coordinated with the Sheriff's Office directly or off-duty Sheriff's Office employees?
We are working with Detective Sanders.
In an official capacity?
I'm not sure.
All right, we can move on. I just want to make sure some of those statements weren't disingenuous, but we can go ahead and go forward.
All right.
We'll circle back. So.
Thank you. At this time, I know we have members of the public that have been waiting for a while. If we have any member, Ms. Carter, are they in the hallway or are they online? Okay, thank you. Did you hear the people in the hall? Yeah, we'll take the one on the phone.
All right, I do see that we have one caller who is called in to speak to this item. I'm about to unmute you, and then you can go ahead.
I think it must have left. She's going to go look.
Go ahead, caller, if you could give us your name.
Yes, my name is Emily Chan, and I am an Irondale resident. I'm about less than a half a mile from the USA Motel, and I pass it daily. We had a car or a truck of my husband's stolen. It was taken to the USA Motel. It was stripped of all of its parts. It was stripped of the car tag. That's when we really started watching, and that was almost a year ago. And that's when I really started paying attention as to what was going on. I moved to Irondale, actually, from Mountain Brook, and there's a lot of people that are moving that way because they don't need the school system anymore. And Irondale is very affordable. And I have 3 children that live in Irondale as well, that go to Birmingham Southern. I have a son who's a medical student that lives in Irondale as well. And the traffic that we see from that USA motel is unbelievable. You can't go to Kentucky Fried Chicken because it's right next door. They will follow you into the parking lot and ask you for money. There's also Hamburger Haven right across the street. It's across the street, but it's really next door. Y'all also didn't bring up the fact that there's St. Martin's of the Pines there, which is very close to the school, where there are, elderly people. I know my husband has someone that works for him that says it is infested with drug addicts. The reason why they stay there is because it's a weekly rate and it's cheap. I have heard that some of the staff actually gets drugs from these people, and also if they do work there, then their rent will be reduced. It's just really sad to see what is going on there. I have even had people that are staying at that hotel come up to me while I'm at the Walgreens drive-thru getting my prescriptions, trying to see what prescriptions I have gotten, and as well as my daughter. And it's very, very upsetting and disturbing. Maybe the people weren't aware, the owners weren't aware of what was going on, but I guarantee the people that worked there were aware. That's all I wanted to say. I hope that something gets done about it. I hope that if it continues and they continue their business license, that they do what they say they're going to do, because it's a very dangerous situation. I've heard of a bunch of overdoses that have happened there. So that's really all. There's a lot of people that I know in this community that are very concerned about it. And Irondale Police told me they are very concerned about it. I've called them, I bet you 30 times about it. So that's really all that I have to say.
All right, thank you. Ms. Garner, is there anybody else on the phone?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we've had several other people raise their hands requesting to speak. I'm going to go ahead and unmute the next caller. Caller, you are now unmuted. If you could go ahead and state your name.
Janice Lawrence.
All right, Ms. Lawrence, you can go ahead.
Yes, I stayed up here in the hotel, and it's true enough, some things go on, but they can't be controlled. Like the lady was saying, people come up here to Walgreens. How does she know they're from this hotel? It's a lot of older people. It's a lot of people with kids. And this is the only thing that we have right now. And I don't think it's, you can't just label who comes here. I know it's people that, comes and be on the property, but they are trying to fix it. And I just don't, appreciate her just saying, how does she know these people are from this hotel that comes up to Walgreens? You can't say that. And this is the only place that we have at the moment. And if they close this down, where are we going to be? Out on the streets? And that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Ms. Garner, who do we have next?
We have another person who has called in. You are unmuted now. If you'd like to go ahead and state your name.
My name is Chuck Lewis, and I agree with the previous caller resident here, a resident at USA Economy, and I've seen this management, I believe, make the turn in putting up new lighting, adding more security, just beef up the security, and now we hear about new cameras going up, and if I'm not mistaken, they said something about a fence being put up where you have to even get access in and out. I think all of those things are going to make a tremendous difference, and the security and the police department may be teaming up together better. I think it's going to make a bigger difference as well. So I've seen this place come a long way, and I don't think now is the time to maybe close it. I think maybe we need to extend it, let us go a little bit further and improve this place for the community. Thank you for hearing my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garner. Who do we have next?
Mr. Chairman, we have another person who has called in requesting to speak. I am going to go ahead and unmute you now. Caller, go ahead and state your name, please.
Yes, I'm a resident here in at USA. This is Markeisha Hall, and I was calling to let y'all know that they have been doing better with the security and all. So I don't see why they should shut it down, because like the previous call said, it's people that stay here. It's older people, a lot of older people that stay here. Me, for one, I've been here for like, what, a year and a half? And it's been improved a lot. So I don't see why they should shut it down. Like they said, they should just up the security and do better, but shutting it down ain't gonna work. That's not gonna help, because there's putting a lot of people out there on the street.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Gardner. Who do we have next?
We have one final caller. Oh, actually, another one just popped up. We have two final callers. Caller, you are now unmuted. Go ahead and state your name.
My name is Ryan. I'm a City of Birmingham resident. I think that the plan that they have is a pretty thorough plan. They should be able to keep their license. And we really can't control what people do from the outside. If they're going into the property, they're calling the proper authorities to try to reduce the crime inside their property. But yeah, I believe they should be able to keep their license. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Do we have any members of the public that is there another one? Ms.
We've
Carter?
actually had a few more spring up now.
All right.
Caller, yes, you're now unmuted. Go ahead.
Yes, my name is Samir, and after hearing what the owners are willing to do and spend the money and make it right, I fully believe that they deserve a chance to get it right. The reality is, and we spoke heavily on the pandemic, is crime rates were up all across the nation during the pandemic. And this was no different. And he also mentioned that how many homicides were in that area, local area, within that hotel. So there's a crime issue in that area, not just at this hotel, but there's a crime issue in the area. And if these owners are willing to spend the money and be proactive, why are we considering taking their license?
Ms. Gardner, Mr. Zamir never stated his address. Will you please get that?
Could you also go ahead and state your address for us?
1854 Lake Cyrus Club Drive.
In what city and state?
And could you repeat?
Oh, Hoover. Okay. Thank you. Well, who do we have next, Ms. Garner?
We have another person who has called in. Caller, you are now unmuted. Go ahead.
Yes, my name is Bruce, and I'm a resident here. And I've seen, actually, I just finished talking with the manager, and he was just telling me they had $45,000 worth of cameras already installed. I've seen them triple the security. Since I've been here about 3 years, something. And I've seen it made change. I've seen them remove all cars that should not be here. They are blocking the area so no one can either come in that's not here. They pass out parking stickers. I've seen them make all kind of changes, cleaning up the building, painting the building, straightening things out. I don't even see the police up here as often as I used to. In the last couple of weeks, I might have gone up here twice. That's me. But I think they've been doing a wonderful job, and I think anyone deserves a chance. Even though some things probably could have been done earlier, but things have been done now, and things have really, really been good. As one previous caller said, they've been to Walgreens, but that doesn't say that these people are from up here, but they just tore down 2 more hotels up there where they built that facility. And people, they had the same type of people there. So this place already know they're on alert. They already know they're on TV.
they already know that they are trying to take it from them. So I think they're at their best behavior. They came a long way in the last 4 weeks. And I see them going forth. I think they're doing good. I think they should, once again, deserve a chance to do what they do as well so as anyone else.
All right, thank you, Ms. Carter. Do we have anybody else?
We do. Caller, you are now unmuted. You can go ahead and state your name and address.
Thank you. My name is Nishant, and we're based out of Atlanta, Georgia, 1100 Avenue.
I couldn't understand his name and address. Could you get that, Ms. Garner?
Could you repeat that again for us, sir?
Yes. My name is Nishant Patel. Address is 1100 Abernathy Road in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm the vice chairman.
Where in Georgia?
Atlanta.
Okay.
I'm the vice chairman of AHOA, Asian American Hotel Owners Association. We have 20,000 members in the nation, and we got a study done from Oxford Economics for the past 2 years, and 69% of the hotels in the state of Alabama are owned by our membership. And as we have stated, as it's been stated on this call, we would like to work with the city and the city to work with our members and the ownership. And if there is a plan, please try to help our owners out and our membership out with whatever we can do to make sure that they continue remaining a good part of the neighborhood and the community. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Hornady, I want you to know that the perception to waste the council's time with having everybody call in from all over the United States about how great this is very disappointing. It has been interesting to note, however, that 4 callers have actually negated what y'all put forward, saying that they've lived there 1.5 years, but you have a strict 30-day maximum allowance, and that they've already installed the flock cameras. However, you said that they had not. So it's interesting to see where the coaching has failed, but it is also not appreciated to waste this body's time having everybody call in from every city. But we can go ahead, Ms. Garner, and let everyone continue to call in. I hope we have enough lines open.
We do have another person that has raised their hand to speak. I have a name for this person. She's listed as Lisa Morgan. Ms. Morgan, you are now unmuted. You can go ahead and give us your name and address. It appears as though Ms. Morgan has left.
I wonder why. Is there any members of the public that would like to speak to this? Yes, sir. Please come forward and state your name and address.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. R. Jordan Davis, 129 Deer Park Drive. I am R. Jordan Davis, a resident of the Crestdale Gardens community, the community that sits right in front of the Econo Lodge. I come as one, but stand as more than 100 community members who vehemently oppose the existence of the Econo Lodge in Eastwood, and furthermore support the revocation of its business license. Crestdale Gardens is a vibrant and diverse community, and the vibrancy and safety of our community is at risk due to the patrons of the Econo Lodge track record of crime and illicit activity. A VA hospital is being constructed as we speak, and Putnam Middle School is adjacent to our community, of which many students walk past the Econo Lodge to attend. The safety of our entire community is under attack. The inert management style of the Blue Chip Hotels Assets Group is despicable and unacceptable. They have thrown together a plan only because they are in grave danger of losing money and to save face. We expect better. We deserve better. I ask that your decision be based on precedents and the harm this business has inflicted on our community. Please vote to revoke the business license of the Econo Lodge in Eastwood. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak to this? Seeing nobody, Chief Smith, if you will have your officers speak to this.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Officer Irby. I asked to speak my experience in the calls at Economy. I patrolled that area. I started 5 years ago. Been a police officer. I've been patrolling the area for 4 years. In those years, Economy has a huge drug problem for it's having drug dealers on the property. I may arrest some drug dealers, overdoses, have a lot of trespassers, a lot of disorderly calls that I've responded to, domestics and vagrant people. In the beginning of my career here, as I learned the area, the drug issues, vagrant people in the area, pretty much I came to the conclusion that Economy is the headquarter of crime in the whole Crestwood area. From Walmart, from UBVs, crime started coming out to the neighborhoods, breaking in burglaries, and some peeping toms. But everything in the area all is related and linked into Economy. The people who I arrest, they be residents at Economy. Drug uses, you have people outside the city, outside the neighborhood coming into the area, come to the Economy, buy drugs, or they come to the area begging for money, vagrants at Walmart, the gas stations, and they leave to Economy Lodge. Now, today present, we haven't had many calls at the Economy. I was told by a couple security guards not to call PD to the location, but I do continue to patrol around and kind of, to see what I observe. And that's all I got to say about it.
Thank you, officer. Anybody else from BPD wish to speak to this? Is that a yes or no? Okay. Thank you, Chief. Do any members of the council have any questions or comments for anybody we've heard from all across the nation? Yes, sir, Mr. O'Quinn.
This is a question for Attorney King. Can you tell me anything about what happens with the residents should the license be revoked?
So that would be for the attorney on the other side to tell what would happen once if they are revoked.
Well, my question is that, okay, if the license is revoked, they can no longer do business, which means that, that any agreements that they have with current tenants would be nullified and effectively the tenants would be evicted. What terms, what kind of time period would tenants have to relocate and so forth?
So we would allow, if they had like a 30-day time frame, that would be for consideration for validity. We would allow that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Well,
Mr.
let me say. Okay. Yeah, but let me suggest to you all that there are fair housing laws that governs when you relocate folk. It is not done in 40 and 30 days. It's not done that way. And we still have an obligation because we're talking about citizens. And so you just can't put folk out. You cannot. Irrespective of what might have transpired, you cannot. Just go and read the 1967 Fair Housing Act and get familiar with it, because you just can't do that. So I just wanted to make that clarity.
All right. Did you want to?
I was saying the council has to consider everything they've heard about the severity of situations that have taken place at this location. Just keep that in mind.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Yes? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to follow up on that. Are we able to, if there's a revocation, can we do that for a future date as far as, because I guess once that is official, then, you know, that business license is pulled in that moment, which means they, you know, and the consideration is around the people that are currently housed in that facility. And so clarity on if this body can make that determination for a future date.
So is Attorney Bernard on the WebEx? I'll have her answer for clarification.
Yeah, this is Attorney Bernard. Please, could you repeat the question? Make sure I know what I'm answering.
Basically, if the body can, if this determination is made to revoke the license, can that revocation be set for a future date? Or does it have to be? Yeah.
The count, I think that could be done. The council can continue the hearing. You don't have to make a decision today, you know, as another option. I don't necessarily see why it could not be, you know, there could not be a prospective determination, but I think it would be best that, you know, you conduct another hearing, or, you know, at least make a determination, rather than just have it summarily revoked at a future date.
Did I answer your question?
Somewhat. Did want to ask also, what efforts have taken place? This is of the owners or representation. What efforts have taken place in the past to mitigate any crime issues on site?
Thank you, Councilor Woods. In the past, as mentioned, there was nighttime security, 7 to 7. The lighting over the course of the last year was not adequate, but was the last time my client set foot on that property, and so that's been upgraded. The nighttime security has been extended to 24/7, and we are working to, as soon as we get the deputies lined up, have them cover the night shift. Again, it would be 2 deputies at night. Also, each guest was required to sign the terms. And
well, I was just asking if there had been any previous efforts prior to notice of this hearing.
So I was engaged about a month ago, and my client had started to work on addressing these issues and getting his arms around understanding what was going on. To be frank, they were not aware of the severity of the issues at a ownership level until notice from, I believe, the task force and then Chairman Williams.
Okay, thank you. A couple things. One, I think Attorney Bernard made, I guess, her recommendation, but I think at this point in time, this license is one that should probably be revoked. Also, at the same time, I'm not comfortable doing anything that's going to cause 150 people to be put out, you know, so I would like to have a conversation around the mechanics of how we can facilitate that. And then also, I think this body needs to look at, specifically in looking at this case and the strain that this has put on the East Precinct, which pulls away from BPD's ability to be in other areas throughout that footprint, looking at what type of legislation we can put in place for a tax on businesses or entities that create an unnecessary strain on our law enforcement here locally. And so that's something to put a pin in our head, and maybe our researchers can look into that, and we can see what we could potentially do there. But what asks for, I guess, following back up on that original question, if we can facilitate both of those things, because I don't think we need to take any action that basically puts 150 people in jeopardy of being put out with short notice, but also being able to kind of take into consideration everything going on at that property and deal with that accordingly.
Thank you, Mr. Woods. Now, just to clarify, I believe, and I want to ask Mr. Hornady, I believe that we were guaranteed that there are no long-term rentals 3 or 4 times during your presentation. So has that changed in the last few minutes?
Thank you, Chairman. That has not changed. That was a policy that was always in place but was not enforced.
Okay.
The enforcement of that policy began about 2 weeks ago, and each guest was notified that a 30-day limit was going to be placed on every stay.
Okay, so we have no long-term rentals.
But it does present a difficult issue, both for the owner, the city. I think attorneys get a little squeamish around this when you have someone who has become a resident somewhere that maybe they shouldn't be, or maybe that's not the preferable place, but they do have rights that have to be addressed, and so we had to notify them of that change, and then there would be further notifications if the owner were to take action against those folks who have been there long term. It would require action individually for each guest through the courts.
Understood. But your commitment is that there will be no long-term rentals there if we do not suspend your business license. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Mr. Chairman.
Council. Well, I believe that the lady to my left was next, and then sir will get you.
That's fine.
Thank
I can
you.
wait.
Thank you. I am glad, Councilor Williams, that you asked the question for clarification about the stay of the residents, because I wanted to ask, what is the percentage of the 120 rooms that are rented? How many of those are extended stay, or what's your average between extended stay and overnight or 1 or 2 day guests? Do you have a rough estimate?
As of right now, it's about 40 to 50% extended stay, and the rest are single stays or a couple days here and there. We're working with the tenants right now to get them placed somewhere else because we don't want to fall on the city. And so, I mean, our guests have been here for a long time. They trust us. So we're working with them to get them situated.
Okay. One other question also. In relation to slide number 6, which showed your proposed redevelopment plans, you had a 4 to 6 month where you would go through due diligence and closing. What were you going to do with the current residents at this time? We all have a concern about where the residents would go during this time for your redevelopment plan. What were your plans as the owner to assist those residents
Well,
in
first we're going to
relocation?
determine the needs of each guest. If they need to find housing, we're going to help them find it somewhere, whether it be city's help or our own, because we care for these guests. They've been our guests for a long time. I mean, we've operated this way before even us. 15 years, there's been no issues. Apparently, there's been issues now. Besides COVID, everyone knows COVID just destroyed our business. And things have laxed, and that's our fault, and they shouldn't have. But now we have to switch gears, we have to change it, we have to take care of the people. So we're going to help them relocate where they need to be, hopefully within the 30 days. If not, we've had neighbor hotels that, our friends that in the community, because, they see this as a precedent. They can close us down for 911 calls because with no evidence. They're concerned because they're in the hotel business as well. So we're working with them to get them to other places and hopefully a more long-term stay until we convert into that affordable housing.
Okay. And this is for Attorney King. I do know we have an ordinance, or you developed a plan or a process where we could go after either owners of residents or businesses that have drug activity. Would this come under the rules of that particular plan?
Yes, so we also are looking into that with this same entity, but these are two, and I want the council to remember, these are two different considerations. But yes, under the Alabama Drug and Nuisance Abatement Act, that is our program where we strictly go after business entities that engage in drug and nuisance activity on their premises.
Thank you. Those are my only questions. Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. Councilor Hoyt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think you've done a good job in employing some sense of balance doing this public hearing. But you all know I'm a housing professional, and there are civil rights issues that are here that the city is not immune to. And there has to be a relocation plan for these residents, whether they 30-day or whatever. If we move forward with revoking this business license, it's unfortunate that it's taken 150 something complaints for us to come to this point. I want to say that to the owner because I just don't think that it's good practice. It's management. When I see these kind of complaints, as I have said and been consistent and raising the certain issues with respect to things that happen in my district that I've been concerned about, and yet, you know, today, or it gives the impression that we're ready to move on this, and I had a club that was wreaking havoc on the community, and they were giving us stay. And matter of fact, they hadn't brought it back before this council because it was supposed to have been brought back for this council. So there are a lot of inconsistencies that the city employs. And so I'm saying to those persons who are residents that you do have rights. You have fair housing rights. We have a fair housing counseling center here who can tell you what those rights are. And I'm just a proponent of fair housing rights because I've been victimized by redlining and all sorts of stuff as I've been in this city. And you just can't let those things pass you by. But we also in a position as a city. We have the American Recovery Plan that offers rental assistance. And so I would implore that the city assist in finding these folks some housing, some rental assistance, and finding them places to stay. But we also know that there's a challenge with respect to affordable housing in this city because it's not been a real priority. Even as we are right now. So I'm really concerned about these folk. And this council, in my opinion, have not been consistent in how we treat certain communities when we got issues of persons reaping havoc on the community. But it all depends on where it's located, I suspect. But that's been my experience in the 16 years that I've been here. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna keep my eyes out on this council and on this chairman because I want fairness. You know, you told the club owner he could stay open. And folks getting shot, getting killed, and all sorts of stuff. And here we got folk that obviously are poor, disenfranchised, and we want to pull the plug on them. But you can't do that. And I just hope that we can come to a formidable decision here. I think what the attorney have suggested here this morning with respect to their plan, I think we need to allow them to at least attempt to implement this plan because it might work out for everybody, quite frankly. And if affordable housing is something that you are going to do, I think that would be a good thing for these residents. And of course, when you do these kind of redevelopment, it has to be done in phases because you got to have somewhere to put these folk. Private sector as well as the public sector is not immune or excluded from fair housing concerns. These are civil rights concerns, and I won't take part in any of that. So I'm just here to tell you, now this council can do what it wants to do, this chairman can do what he wants to do, but I'm here to tell you, HUD will sue this city, you as an individual and all when it comes to fair housing. So don't be confused by that.
All right, thank you, Mr. White. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? All right. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Abbott.
I did want to ask a question, and that is that I'm looking, there aren't page numbers, but the redevelopment plan, it says 4 to 6 months for diligence and closing. And my question is, if the property is sold to a new person, will the facility be closed? I mean, at some point, everybody has to get out if you're going to convert it to multifamily. And I'm looking at the timeline for work to actually start on this facility, because if 4 to 6 months, if diligent and closing was closing the facility rather than just closing on the contract, then everybody would be out by the end of December, or between December and February. They'll be gone anyway. So I guess I'm wanting to understand a little bit more about the redevelopment plans, because clearly this place is a disaster. It's been run, well, badly, I guess is a very kind term. So I would like to know, it sounds great to put in cameras and more security and get rid of all the drug dealers and the miscreants, but that all sounds good, and we've heard things that sounded good before. So I want to know about this redevelopment plan. When would the facility be emptied out to convert it to multifamily? I mean, is there enough of a plan for you to tell us the answer to that question?
Thank you, Councilor Abbott. I can begin to answer it, and my client might be able to add a little more detail if needed.
Just a little louder, sir.
Just please.
Yes, sir. The redevelopment will occur by the new purchaser. So the closing that the councilwoman pointed out was probably my mistake in a lack of clarity. That means closing on the transaction of the sale. From that point, the new owner would start the redevelopment process in earnest. Now, construction would not start occurring for, I believe, 3 to 4 months as permitting and other things go through, but they would try to front load as much of that process and get it ready during the extended diligence period. And that's why you have a longer than normal diligence period, is so that the purchaser can try to front load that before they do purchase, so that they're ready to move as fast as possible once they are the owner. Now, once they begin construction, there are 2 buildings at this site which have rooms in them. One building would be closed. I don't know which building. I would assume the smaller building, but it may be the larger. But one building would be closed while the other building continues to house people. So that's why it's a 2-phase stepwise process. As they're approaching that closing, they will be very vigilant about the length of stay and how many guests are checking in, so that they can manage that and taper down to the transition time for phase 1. Again, one building will be closed for reconstruction and reconfiguration. Once it's complete, everyone will move over if they choose to enter into a lease, or during that reconstruction period, again, the hotel or new owner will work with those folks to make sure that they transition. Now, all that's to say, ideally, and we hope and we plan that there won't be anybody staying there more than 30 days anyway, so this should be a very manageable process by that point, but it will take time for us to get to that point because, as Councilor Hoyt's pointed out, these folks do have rights that are protected by Alabama and federal law that we have to observe as we're transitioning the makeup of the guests. But directly to your question, the motel portion of this property will continue to operate during and through phase 1. At the end of phase 1, that building will open as a leased tenancy facility, and the other will close as a motel and be redeveloped into multifamily as well. And then at the end of the projected 18-month post-transaction period, the full property should then be multifamily housing. Some of this plan does depend on sorting through ordinances and state requirements and licensing and plans and permits, and so the timing and configuration may change slightly. In other words, it may continue to operate as a motel until the full completion if that's what's required, but the preference would be once a building is remodeled and reconfigured, it would then open as multifamily, and the other one would stop being a motel and would then be redeveloped. And so that would be the transition points, the end of phase one.
Okay, and are the current guests who are staying for extended amounts of time, are they paying by the week, or do they pay by the month, or do they pay by, certainly not the year? How does that?
It does vary. My client can answer that more directly, and so I'll let him address that directly.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So generally, all guests pay about 3 days to a week in advance.
3 days to a week
Yes, ma'am.
in advance?
That usually weeds out any type of troublemakers or anything like that.
And are you aware of the new potential owners' plans? How many of the current guests does he think are going to live there permanently after the place is converted?
We're hoping for the most part of it because it's going to be affordable housing, so they should be able to afford what they're paying right now as a monthly rent. So we're trying to figure out the logistics of that so that we can get them into a lease month to month so they can pay up 1 month up front and then get them into a long-term stay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Madam City Attorney, if we were to revoke their business license today, can the city in administrative capacity give them work out some sort of timetable for them to get their long-term residents out of that property?
Yes, that's what I was speaking to. Attorney Hornady spoke about the 30-day restriction that's already in place. So yes, that is something that could be worked out.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Smitherman.
Thank you, Chairman. So I guess the beauty of being an attorney is I'm going to look up the law. In the Fair Housing Act, extended motels, hotels are not protected under it and their occupants, meaning that it would not be a fair housing violation. But at the same time, I do think this uncovers a problem I don't think our city just has, but all cities have during this pandemic. It's helping to find people affordable housing. I know we can only do but so much, but extended motels are just what they are. They're supposed to be for 1 week. They're supposed to help people get it, make sure they get a plan, help them to have somewhere to stay for a while. But I really hope this will also give all of us a sense of push to help people right now, because obviously we have 120 people who are not without housing in our city. But I just want y'all to know that the Fair Housing Act does not cover them, so they are not protected under this. I do still want to help with them, make sure that we help them have a plan, and thank you for that, Councilor Williams, to help the tenants out, because I think the big concern between the 8 of us is making sure that our residents have somewhere to stay. But we also have to make sure that our residents have a good quality of life where they stay. No one deserves to stay somewhere where there's drug activity and shooting. And as a business owner, I know you can't control the drugs and the crime. I know you're not the one giving the drugs and the crime, but there's an assumption of risk when you're a business owner, and you assume that risk when you open your business that this would happen. Correct me if I'm wrong, they don't need this business license in order to open up this new multifamily unit, correct?
So if it's revoked today, this entity could not operate within 6 months. They could not operate within 6 months.
Okay. Could they still start on the redevelopment even though they don't have that license? Or do they have to get it first?
I'll have Attorney Bernard provide me clarification on that.
I asked that question because if they don't, they can still start that redevelopment process for the multi-dwelling unit, and we can help them make sure that they have their tenants out. That way he still is a business owner, but in a different capacity. We're still helping people get affordable housing, and we're still finding solutions to all of our problems. So I think I'm gonna wait for that answer, but that's all I have right now.
Did Attorney Bernard hear the question?
I need it repeated just so I make sure I understand it.
No, I was asking, so hypothetically, if the council revokes their business license, would they have to wait 6 more months to start the redevelopment into a multi-dwelling family unit?
No, that would not be the case.
Okay.
The ordinance prohibits the same entity from receiving another business license that was revoked within the 6-month period. I also understand this redevelopment is maybe being done by a different entity. So that would it would be a different entity. It would be a different business type. That wouldn't be prohibited from going forward. That is for coming back with a hotel license within 6 months with the same entity. That is what would be prohibited.
Okay, thank you. Hypothetically, if your license does get revoked, I want you to still be encouraged to still do this because we still need affordable housing. Because we still need businesses, and we still need our Black and brown people still need a place to stay. This will just be a different place of housing. So I really hope, and hopefully we can work with you as well to have that affordable housing, but I still want to encourage you to pursue these plans as well. Thank you.
All right. Does anybody else have any? Yes, sir, Mr. Hoyt.
Can I address that real quick? While I do want to be here, I'm a partner with Birmingham. If you do revoke our license, why would I come back here? It makes no sense to me because you can just do it again for whatever reason. So I apologize. Yeah, so if you do revoke my license, why would I continue to develop again in Birmingham when you can do this to me again, to our group? Not just me, other hoteliers. This has gone all around the whole city. Everyone's scared right now. If you could just take away their license over things, and facts have been said, and a lot of other allegations have been said that are unfounded. And here you go, like, hey, we need housing. We're here to provide a solution to you guys. We're offering you a partnership, and you're just slapping us away. Makes no sense to me. So why would you do this? We're trying to be here amicably, do a business relationship, help our city of Birmingham residents, have a place to stay, revitalize the area, put money in the area, and I'm hearing just a no. I won't work with you. So.
Well, I said hypothetically, we haven't voted yet, but I was just saying hypothetically if that happened. But I understand your concerns. Thank you.
Yes, Councilwoman Smitherman, obviously these are very emotional issues, but I did want to specifically address your question. Under the deal that's been proposed and that's been agreed on, our client would have to continue to operate for that diligence period so that it could have the cash flow to support the mortgage on the property. Otherwise, it would go into default if it were not operating. And I haven't read it in detail, but I assume a valid license is part of the deal. That's typically part of the terms under your reps and warranties for a transaction like this. So while they have an eye to redevelop and very quickly do that, they do need to have a license in place when they become the owner so that there's not a gap in their ability to convert as they're closing one building, redeveloping, and then closing the second.
Okay, thank you.
All right, was there anybody else? Did you still want to speak, Mr. Hoyt?
I certainly do.
Okay.
Unless this is some dictatorship or something, I don't know. Are you going to allow me, sir? Thank you.
Trying to.
Well, and the beauty about, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm married to a lawyer, and I have a daughter who's an attorney as well. But when you talk about extended stay hotels, there is laws that governs them because it's viewed as an occupancy. of extended stay, and they are protected by the Federal Fair Housing Act. So I think we need to read a little bit further.
Just to clarify, this is a limited stay hotel, not an extended stay hotel. They're very different.
But he said extended stay.
No, it's being treated like an extended stay, but it is, hey, they have a license for a limited stay. Mr. O'Quinn, did you have any comments?
Let me finish, Mr. Chairman. The issue is for us, these are disenfranchised folk. And I don't think we treat people this way. Nobody chooses to be a drug addict. I hadn't met one person that I worked with in the last 30 years that wanted to be a drug addict, or for that matter, alcoholic. So we're still talking about human life here. Regardless of how we feel about the business or where it's run, we're talking about individuals, and they just happen to look like me mostly. And I think this city has a reputation for meeting people's needs in times of difficulty. We're in the middle of a pandemic, which means that housing is limited, which means that a lot of folk are having to resort to staying at places like this that may not be the most quality place to stay. But we're in this pandemic. We're in the same pandemic. And this city has money with the American Recovery Act, which they could use. And I want you to know, I want your residents to know, or your patrons to know, that there's money set aside for rental assistance. It seemed to me everybody in that place would qualify for that assistance. That's why it was given to us. And so that's the best use of this money, is to help these folk meander to somewhere else, if that be the case. You know, but this rush to do this, and then and we saying this place is a nuisance. Well, I had a club that was a nuisance in my neighborhood, and some folks did visit the place, and this same chairman decided that they would allow them to correct the mistakes or their issues.
No, sir. No, sir.
Well, and so I
Okay, all right. Hold on, guys. Hold on.
Well, you can.
No. I wasn't, Council Hoyt. I was simply trying to acknowledge that, to ask Council Williams to allow you to continue your statement. That's all I'm asking, Councilor Williams. Just let Councilor Hoyt complete his statement, and then we'll go back. That's all I was. So, Councilor Hoyt, you want to complete your
sometimes
statement?
we get confused. This ain't Mountain Brook. This is Birmingham, and I'm gonna speak. And when you look at and I said the 1967, it's 1968 Act, Fair Housing Act. Dr. King is mentioned in this act, as well as Lyndon B. Johnson. And Dr. King was fighting for poor folk. He didn't ask them were they on drugs. He didn't ask them if they engaged in prostitution. He didn't ask any of those things. But he was concerned about the human condition. And I'm saying to this city, who has a history of being concerned about the human conditions of our citizens and citizens everywhere, to employ those same things right here. Do I think this is bad business management? Yes. Do I blame the people? No. Because there are a lot of factors that contribute to one's inability to make, right decisions. We got folk in there, I would imagine, got medical equipment. Nobody's considered that. So when you talk about putting folk out, you need to consider the whole person. And it's not as cavalier as we want it to be. It's not. Now, I know my time is limited on this council, but I'm going to still be a voice. And you best to know it. But I'm not going to sit here and partake in displacing folk when we don't develop a plan as to how we do that, regardless of what they do. I'm saying this city has the resources, has the wherewithal. We have a housing department. We have a planning committee. And we need to do what we need to do for our citizens. They're still citizens of Birmingham. When Village Creek flooded, we developed a plan how to move those people out of that area. We did that. This is no different. They're not flooded, but they still are human beings. And I won't take part in that. I won't. And I'm really surprised and shocked. But sometimes that's what arrogance will do. You get confused about why you're here. I'm not confused. Thank you, Mr. President. You're so wonderful not to let him interrupt me again.
All right, Mr. President, I'd like to clarify a few things. First of all, the club we're talking about, which is off topic, I actually voted with Mr. Hoyt on. I guess got to remember all the details. But in terms of the neighborhood that surrounds this, and in terms of bringing up Mountain Brook, and in terms of bringing up a middle school that has Birmingham City school children within 1,000 feet of this establishment, I want to point out that in the past 6 months, there has been 151 calls for service within 1,000 feet of a middle school. 7 theft of properties, 4 loiterings, 9 people down, 5 people with warrants, 13 disorderly people, 26 trespassing, 3 people with a gun, 1 mentally unstable, 1 unclassified homicide, 2 search warrants, 3 suspected people of prostitution, 1 indecent exposure, drug sales, and it goes on and on and on and on. And there is a lack of equity in the Birmingham metro area, because at Mountain Brook Junior High School, there's not 151 calls for service, including a lot of dangerous activity that the kids have to be next to. There is inequality in what is happening here if this city continues to allow this property to operate. Not to mention the property owners of the neighborhood that abuts this deserve the city to hold our property owners responsible for their actions. They have invested in their houses. They have a right to have the city look after them. We've heard from them today. I see 2 of them in the back row nodding their head. It is not fair for this city to allow people to completely disregard their responsibilities as property owners and as owners of a business license that causes detriment not only to the adjacent neighborhood, but also where our kids, our small children in middle school, are going to school. And with that, Mr. President, I'd like to call for the vote.
Okay. All right. Have all the council members had questions, answered, responses? Hold on. Council Wiz, President Pro Tem Alexander, and then Council Wiz, I'm sorry.
I have one final question. Looking again at the plan that you submitted to us, does it include any reporting or any feedback back to the council on what your corrective action included? I didn't see in here any type of reporting or feedback to us or to Birmingham PD or to anyone about how will we know that this is being sustained
Yes, ma'am. I am happy to report to you and the council as a whole as often as required. If that is weekly, then my client's happy to do that. We also, as alluded to, and we kind of mentioned it in passing, we are working with the city attorney's office on the drug-related nuisance abatement matter to try to resolve that. The resolution, once we reach a mutual agreement, would have oversight of a court for at least 12 months and would be binding on a future owner. If it's consistent with prior agreements that have been entered, and we are happy to report to either the full council or the Public Safety Committee in hearings or by letter the progress that we make as we implement the next steps in this plan and approach the closing date and redevelopment.
I asked that question because what's difficult for me is that I want to be fair to the residents that live in the facility, but it's also it's disheartening to me, the number of calls, the number of crime, and the way that we have allowed, or that you all have allowed, or the system that you created there that our residents have to live under. So I'm happy to see that you're trying to go through a corrective action process, but I also want to be fair to the residents that are living there, and that we aren't creating an opportunity for them to still continue to have to live in a place that's not safe or that's not conducive to a good quality of life. So that's why it's important to me if you're putting these in place, it's just not a show for us today. It's something that's actually going to be done to no longer have this be a nuisance, or again, to improve the quality of life for the people that live there.
Yes, ma'am. And that's one of the reasons we included demonstrated evidence of some of the things that have already occurred, such as repairing the lighting and other matters that we've done. Now, those are just first steps, obviously, and so the license is retained. My client is happy to report as robustly and quickly or reoccurring as needed to make sure that they're held accountable. They want to be held accountable going forward.
Okay. And also the burden you're placing on our police department. They're having to come in. There's 151 calls. They could have been out helping to assist with other citizens and to reduce crime in other areas. So that's just something that I have to take in consideration with my vote. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Councilor Woods, did you still have a question, or?
I'll let Councilor.
Okay.
Do you own any other hotels in Birmingham or in the surrounding area?
Yes, I do.
Where are they?
It's Beacon Parkway.
It's where?
Beacon Parkway.
Beacon Parkway?
Yes.
In District 3.
In District 3. Okay, do you have another one?
No, that's it.
No, that's it. Okay. Have you managed any previous hotels before that may have gotten shut down?
Yes. Not shut down. No, never. This is the first ever.
This first ever? What was the previous one that you managed?
We have hotels in Indianapolis, Atlanta, Dallas, Austin, kind of everywhere.
Okay, so you've never owned a hotel that was in Homewood?
Excuse me?
So you never managed a hotel in Homewood?
Oh, not in Homewood. I've been a general manager for 15 years of different brands.
Okay.
Whether independent, Holiday Inn Express, Marriott's, all the way to Super 8s. So I'm the managing partner now. The previous managing partner, he is gone. So this is a 911 call for us, and that's why we've put up $100,000 so far, and we're waiting for the okay right now to put another 100 plus in, so we can make this better.
Okay, how is your hotel doing on Beacon Parkway?
It's doing well. So I mean, it's
doing well. Not that many calls.
But we're going to take the same security measures that we're taking here and activate it over there as well, so that it doesn't become an issue later down the line.
Okay. I am concerned about the residents. I really am. But on the other side of the token, say for instance, if we gave you like a month or two to see if you improve, we also have the consequences of what if something else extreme happens at your hotel. I think that's the dilemma you see amongst all of us, is between not displacing our residents, but at the same time we have a crime problem, and we don't need any other additional crime to our city, anything we can deter. But I would be open to possibly a month.
No, and I
But
agree
it
with
will
you,
just depend on
100%.
what my colleague, I'll follow what my colleagues will do, but I would be open to that because Council Hoy is right. We do need to be consistent with our businesses. Thank you.
Yes, and I think the steps we've moved forward with the off-duty sheriff's station, with cameras, with the license plate reader, we have gates coming, we have one-way spike strips coming, so that way we can control the flow of traffic. All that's coming, you know, it's going to be a huge change, and also just the appearance of the hotel from an eyesore to something like you can be proud of.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now Councilor Woods, he's recognized, and then we'll come back. Go ahead, Councilor Woods.
Thank you, Mr. President. One, I do think there are some definitely issues there, and I think kind of referring back to the memo from Attorney Bernard and looking at the scope of what our decision is based on today, I think that, one, I mean, there's a lot of passion, a lot of emotion. I try to remove any of that when making these decisions. Definitely disappointed that there has not been historical action taken to this obvious issue from the ownership, but a lot of concern around what specifically would happen to 150 people if a certain decision was made today. And also have to acknowledge that what they presented today has to be deemed as responsive. I do think that they have laid out a solution that could potentially solve some of these issues. I know historically we have given time windows in order to review what's been implemented. And so I think that there needs to be a minimum. I won't make a motion at this time. I'll allow other people to speak, but I do think that there needs to be a minimum of a 30-day window to extend to allow them to implement, allow us to gather more information and look at these cases more intently. Also would, I guess, make sure that you're not misrepresenting anything, any statements that you're making. Thank you, Mr. President.
All righty. Let me go to Councilor Smitherman to respond back, and then Councilor Abbott will come to you if did you have anything else? Okay, I'm sorry. Councilor Abbott, you.
Yeah, you know, this is a really tough one because in reading all the backup, the activities that have gone on at this location is just egregious. It makes you so angry you just want to strangle someone, but of course then we'd have to go away with the police too. So we have two choices. We can revoke today and be done with it till we go to court, or we can do a deal where we give them a month or 2 months to implement everything that has been described here today and watch to see whether anything changes. I can't think of another option. So we have two things we can do. We can just shut it down, or we can give them an opportunity to fix everything as has been described, and then watch them like a hawk, or 2 hawks, or 9 hawks. So those are the only options that I see. I'm just sitting here mulling this over.
Okay. All right. We're gonna Council Woods, and we're gonna recognize you again, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it. I think everybody's kind of said their piece. At this time, I would move that we.
Okay, let me just make sure for you. Does anybody else need to speak before we start entertaining motions or whatever? I just want to.
Well,
so can you hold up, Councilor Woods?
Yeah. Well, I would only.
Councilor Hoyt and then Dr. Quinn.
Okay.
I was just saying. No, you go ahead and then Dr. Quinn.
Yeah. Well, Mr. President, I would only ask that at least 2 months, Mr. Woods, if you're considering a motion, what have you, because we just want to make sure we're giving enough time for something to transpire as opposed to something to fail at this juncture. And I just would say respectfully, if you would consider that so that we can, because at the end of the day, I could care less about the business, but I am concerned about the people, you know, and everybody in that place is not doing drugs. So we have to be concerned about them. And so, but that's what I would ask respectfully, if you all would consider that, because I just think it gives us a time to see what we can do to try to assist these citizens, and maybe even, you know, even have a committee dedicated to trying to see what can we do to help them to transition, if that be the case. And then also, I think in 60 days, you ought to, you know, we ought to be seeing some evidence of change, either to the good or nothing is happening, and then we need to measure that, you know, and and create some metrics and some benchmarks as to what we need to happen at a particular point in time. That's just the way I would think. And I wouldn't consider this if it was not involving people that had nothing to do with what's going on right now. You know, but it's in our hands. But I would just ask respectfully. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, just a quick statement. I hope all my colleagues are, you know, that to this is an obvious statement, but I would encourage you not to base your decision on any potential redevelopment of the property. If there's one thing that I've learned as being a city councilor, it's that real estate development is a highly speculative process, and that, you know, I think we've all seen people propose property redevelopments or developments that, you know, never have materialized. There's probably dozens of Birmingham Business Journal articles that I could point you to where, you know, people said they were going to do one thing, and here we are years later, and those things have never materialized. So I would just say, you know, that I would also suggest that there's nothing in this proposal that says that this current majority owner wouldn't retain some ownership interest in the sale of the property. So, you know, as it often happened with some other businesses that have been threatened with revocation of their license, they have, you know, sold it to a friend or a family member or something, and, you know, they essentially retain ownership in the property, if not on paper, certainly in practice. So just wanted to state those obvious things for your consideration.
Okay. We're down. Okay.
I think that before we go ahead, Ms. King typically reads the reasons on why we would revoke something and what we can consider.
Thank you, Councilor Williams. So under Section 3A1, 131 of the General Code of the City of Birmingham, the grounds of subject to revocation by the council can be for the following: for violation of any provision of the Business License Code or of any ordinance of the City of Birmingham or any statute of the State of Alabama. 2, if the licensee, his agent, servant, or employee under the color of such license violates or aids or abets in violating or knowingly permits or suffers to be violated any penal ordinance of the City of Birmingham or any criminal law of the State of Alabama. Number 3, if the licensee or his agent filed or caused to be filed any application, affidavit, statement, or other misleading statement or omission of a material fact in the connection with the issuance or renewal of any license. And lastly, if the licensee, his agent, servant, or employee is found to be operating the business for which such license is issued in such a manner as to be detrimental to the public health, safety, or welfare, or so as to constitute a nuisance.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
based on that, I'd like to make a motion that we revoke the license of this establishment because it being a public health, safety, or welfare, as well as a nuisance because of the 151 calls and 46 reports for service from the Birmingham Police Department, heard today by Birmingham Police Department's testimony.
Okay, and I have to recognize Councilor Woods because he was also trying to make a motion as well.
Yeah, this time I'd like to make a substitute motion.
We haven't gotten a second on the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's bring them both up. Let's just.
Second.
Okay. All
Okay,
right,
we got
so
a second to get Councilor Williams.
Second.
Okay.
All right, Councilor Woods is now going to be recognized. Councilor Woods.
I don't know if we got a motion on the table.
Well, you can amend it.
No, I'm saying I'm gonna recognize you to make.
Okay.
Substitute motion.
All right. At this time, I'd like to make a substitute motion for an 8-week continuation of this hearing.
Second.
Hold on, two separate things here.
There's two main motions.
So we have to
He
deal.
needs to deal with the motion that's on the floor. If he wants to amend the revocation, from the standpoint of defer the hearing for 8 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, or something of that nature, but we'd have to take care of this matter first before you can go to the issue that he's speaking of.
So,
Mr. President, because of the fact that this item has been before public safety, and then we had to have another continuation at their request because of they felt that they did not get 10 days written notice, even though they had already appeared before public safety. And due to the amount of continuation that has already happened in this, I'm going to keep my motion.
okay. All right. Y'all want to talk before we?
I'll say if this motion is voted up or down, it will be resolved today. And I don't know that it needs to be resolved today. But.
Okay, so here.
Well, I mean, if he wants to vote on it, we vote.
Yeah, let's just
we vote either yes or no, and then you come back with a different motion. As simple as that.
All right.
I'm not going to do a record vote for this.
Okay. This is on the revocation of the license.
All right, that item fails.
Fails.
All right, the substitute.
It'll be another main motion because there's nothing on the floor now. This is neutral.
Right.
So.
At this time, I'll move for an 8-week continuation of this hearing.
Second.
Okay. Who's the second? Paul.
Councilor Hoyt.
Okay. For 8 weeks. All right.
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
when we make this vote, all we are doing is saying an 8-week delay, what's going to happen during that 8 weeks? Don't we need to mention what we would like to see happen? And how we're going to verify what's going on?
Well, I think they were just really trying to get the motion up, and I think then there'll be some benchmarks or some parameters put around.
Well, Mr. President, we've already heard from Birmingham Police that they've instructed their staff not to call police.
Okay.
So.
Okay, here's where we are. Councilor Woods has made a motion for an 8-week delay. Within those 8 weeks,
President,
you want to continue with?
Basically, it's around the implementation of what they presented today. Do they bring in off-duty law enforcement as they have laid out, lighting upgrades, camera upgrades, things like that. And so, basically what we'll be looking at is, did they complete those things, as well as any, law enforcement activity, criminal activity on that site, I do think, it would be advantageous to have them report to Public Safety Committee every 3 weeks, potentially every 4 weeks. But that's at the pleasure of that chairman.
Okay. All right, does that give you a little bit more clarity, Councilor Abbott?
Yeah, I mean, I want to make sure that we're not just waiting around for 8 weeks.
Okay.
Something needs to happen, and something big needs to happen.
Okay. I think Councilor Woods has stated that in the motion.
Well, let's, if the chairman is on board, make this every 2 weeks that they come to Public Safety Committee.
Yeah, I mean, they can. Yeah, they can come to the scheduled committee meeting to report on lighting upgrades and a camera, which we've heard.
Camera upgrades and off-duty law enforcement being hired to manage the site. So.
And the turnover of
basically
of the occupants, because if you can only stay for 30 days, then in 30 days everybody will be gone, and new people will be there.
Yeah, I think for clarity, just the implementation of the plan presented today in its entirety, and that will be the benchmark.
Okay. Chairman?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll work through the Public Safety Committee, and then also if reports could be made to all of, I guess when your reports go out.
Yeah,
your agenda goes out. So.
Yeah, after they present, we'll send a report out to the collective.
Okay, that's fine.
Group.
Okay. All righty. Yes, ma'am.
Also, I think it doesn't have to be a condition because I don't want us to change the motion again. I would like for us to reach out to HUD, and I don't know if the city can do some type of, not investigation, but to see which of the residents are actually long-term residents and helping us to assist them in having a plan for getting out of this type of condition. Because I think the reason the motion failed is because of the residents and not the business. So we also need to focus more on the residents, because hypothetically, if we don't see any improvement and we do revoke the license, we still have the same problem we have today of we have these residents that are there and they don't have a plan for where they can stay next.
Okay.
So
right.
I just want to make sure that we have that plan in place as well.
Okay. So do we need, hold on, Councilor Hort. So do we need to?
Well, part of this plan is that they get their stay under 30 days. Or was it up to 30 days or was it 7 days? So that, should be under, nobody should be staying over 30 days.
Okay. So we're going to ask for implementation of the plan, but also request, Chief, necessary city personnel be involved in those Public Safety Committee meetings. Okay. All right. So now we're ready for a vote. All right. That item passes with the 8-week delay. Next item.
Next should be item number 4, which has been requested to be withdrawn.
Okay.
Next should be item 15, which is on page 22. Item 15, a resolution approving and authorizing the mayor to execute and deliver the First Amendment to the agreement with Alethea House Incorporated, increasing the amount by $150,000 with a total amount not to exceed $537,244 pursuant to Code Section 11-40-1, Code of Alabama 1975. The contract for the authorized goods and services, Alethea House Incorporated will provide application intake, screening, and case management services to support the program administration, management, compliance, and financial reporting required to administer the Treasury Emergency Rental Assistance Program. Motion, please.
I move approval.
Second.
All right, item is before you.
Madam
All
President.
right, Mr. Horton, I believe you pulled this item.
Yeah, well, I think this is quite timely. And maybe we can use Alethea House to assist these persons who are possibly will be displaced. with rental assistance and get them into somewhere permanently. So I think this is really, I know we're not supposed to get into religion, but the Lord is showing up, even at city council meetings. So, Chaz, this is good information, sir. And I'm hoping that the heart of this council will maybe say and have them to do that, because these are citizens, whether we realize it or not. So,
thank you, Mr. Hoyt. And I think we're referring to, there has been information that's been shared by the administration, which we'd asked for previously on where we are today with our rental assistance program. So we do appreciate the update, and it shows where we are, where we're going forward, and again with this agreement with the Lethea House to continue this. Any other comments? Not, we'll call for the vote. Thank you.
All right, voting should be open. That vote should be up.
That motion passes. Next item.
It should be item 16, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a funding agreement with the Birmingham Jefferson County Port Authority, under which the BJCPA will provide the operation of an inland port facility on the Black Warrior River for recreational, transportational, agricultural, industrial, and commercial purposes, and other professional services as needed to carry out its duties and responsibilities and other services that are required to fulfill the intent of the Port Authority Act, that defined in Chapter 94 of Title 11 of the Code of Alabama 1975. And the purpose of this funding agreement, and the city will pay the BJCPA an amount not to exceed $125,000 for such services, provided that such funding has been approved and included in the city's general fund budget for the fiscal year 2021 through 22.
I move approval.
Second.
Item is before you.
Yeah, Madam President.
Yes, Mr. Hoyt.
Yeah, well, I don't see the plan. I mean, we saying we're going to provide these services, but where is the plan?
Well, there is.
It's not been discussed with this council.
Yes, sir.
And so, Madam President, I would want to see a presentation to the committee of the whole, so that we can understand what it is that they are doing. I mean, we just got through saying people say stuff, but we need to know exactly what does that plan look like. If you're saying it's going to be for recreational and transportational and agriculture, industrial and commercial purposes and professional services as needed to carry out its duties, I mean, where's the plan?
I do want to make it known that there do have items that were included in our packet that did answer some of these questions. I also know that Mr. Russell did come before the Budget and Finance Committee and did give a presentation, but of course it's fair to ask if councilors consider that we need that additional information through a committee of the whole.
Presentation, quite frankly, unless somebody here today can present.
Madam Chair, Mr. Russell couldn't make it for personal reasons, but we will go with the pleasure of the council if they want to send it to committee of the whole for a formal presentation.
I would love to see that.
All right. So thank you. Is that an option then? Is that what?
Yes, that would be, yeah, substitute motion. It would be to, that we send this to the committee of the whole. And, because, I mean, this sounds exciting, but I kind of need to know what it is.
Mr. Woods. And actually it could be both, and that's why it's a good idea we could put it in a committee of the whole, and then that way both committees could hear that, and all councils could be present for that.
It wouldn't die in my committee, but but I would like to see. I like to know what the deal is. I mean, you know.
Yes. All right. So then we had a motion. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
All right.
And this is to go to committee of the whole.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Voting should be.
We know it ain't gonna happen.
How are we going to get it out of committee of the whole?
Within the next 2 weeks.
Did you want to reconsider that and send it to transportation, or we good?
We gonna see one last time.
All right.
One a year.
I think the vote is up. That motion passes. Next item. We'll send that to Committee of the Whole. Next item.
This will be item 17, a resolution approving and authorizing the mayor to execute a First Amendment to the agreement for procurement of BRT buses with the Birmingham Jefferson County Transit Authority, under which an agreement between the city and BJCTA dated as of August 15th, 2019, pursuant to which the city agreed to provide FTA Tiger Grant funds in an amount not to exceed $9,037,500 to BJCTA prior to December 31st, 2019, for the purpose of up to 15 CNG transit buses for the Bus Rapid Transit project at a cost of not to exceed $602,500 per bus, will be amended. One, to reduce the total amount of funding to be provided to the city to be an amount not to exceed $6,489,576, which will include $1,880,498 in Tiger CMAQ grant funding for the purchase of buses. Two, to reflect that the cost per bus is being reduced to the amount not to exceed $589,961.49 per bus. And three, to extend the deadline for the payment of the city's funds to December 31st, 2021. And further rescinding resolution number 358-21, which authorized a prior amendment to the agreement of procurement of buses that was not executed. Motion, please.
I move approval.
Second. All right, Mr. White, I believe you pulled this one as well.
Yeah.
No, it was me.
I'm sorry, Ms. Abbott. Go ahead.
Madam President, this particular item that I can remember have not been to the Transportation Committee, but I certainly would not hold it up. So I'm in agreement with it because I think it has been discussed, not necessarily in a committee, but I do know that there are additional buses that need to be purchased.
Madam President.
All right, Ms. Abbott.
This is the same.
It's the same. It's just you're approving an amendment to what was already previously approved by the council.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Thank you. So
That's
what
good.
we'll be approving is an amendment.
I'm in agreement.
Mrs. Abbott.
Yeah, the reason I pulled this off was I just wanted to hear an explanation of what happened. I mean, December 31st, 2019 seems like a long time ago, and what happened? You know, I read the backup information, but what happened? What went wrong? What transpired that caused this change?
So, Councilor, you all are used to hearing from Ms. Charlotte Shaw. She's not here. Ms. Denise Bell, who's the Director of Capital Projects, she's going to come in and give you an update on what happened.
Okay.
She's coming in now.
She's coming in now.
All rise.
Thank you, Mrs. Bell.
Good afternoon. Denise Bell, serve as the Capital Projects Division Director. So this is actually good news. It's basically it's a small amount of buses at a better cost, basically. That's all it is. So we're just changing to make sure that we incorporate the correct funding.
So they never bought any buses, and because they didn't buy any buses and the price went down, we need fewer of them, and we're getting a better price.
So we are buying the buses. We have the buses. They are being housed at BJCTA.
We already have the buses.
Yes.
So we
this
already
is just
bought
a correction.
them. We already bought them, but we got a better price, and we're buying fewer of them.
Yes.
So it's just a change of mind and a change of plans.
Right.
Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted.
And all right, did you have a response, Chief, or you just all right, Counselor?
Yeah, I just wanted to also suggest that revising the budget actually frees up some money, and we know that Ms. Shaw is trying to, shuffle things around, and this frees up some money for her to direct to the actual project that's being built out right now. So, just wanted to offer that.
More good news.
Thank you. Good news, good news. Any other questions? We're ready for the vote. Thank you.
Councilor Woods. Councilor Smitherman is out. All right, that vote should be up.
All right, that motion passes. Next item, please.
Should be item 19. A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement for services with Create Birmingham Incorporated, under which Create Birmingham will provide professional services in attracting and developing film, television, commercial, music video, and other media production that will have a significant impact on the city's local creative economy while raising Birmingham's national profile as a dynamic and hospitable place to do business for a term of 1 year and for an amount not to exceed $50,000.
I move approval.
Second.
All right, who pulled this item?
I did.
All right.
And the only reason I pulled it off was that we were told that the new director would be here to introduce herself today, and I was just wanting to meet her and hear what her plan is, a brief synopsis.
Madam Chair, just to update the council, she had a conflict because she's out of town actually doing some recruitment for Birmingham, so she was unable to make it. So if you wanted to send it to committee of the whole, or we can just set up a meeting for you to meet her personally or WebEx. So
Well, maybe she could just come to a council meeting and be introduced on the mayor's time, because I don't want to hold up progress. I just thought since there's a new director, it would be good for us to meet her, and we thought she was going to be here today, but we understand conflicts. So, no, I don't want to hold things up. I just wanted to get to know the face of the person who is selling Birmingham to the film and video industry. I think it's important for all of us to know because, you know, we might hear something that we wanted to pass on, and if you don't know people, you know, you haven't even seen them, you probably aren't going to contact them. So I just thought it would be a good idea, but I'm ready to vote.
All right,
yes,
thank you.
we understand and agree.
All right, thank you. We'll call for the vote.
Council. All right.
All right, that item passes, and we do look forward to an introduction at a council meeting. Thank you very much. Next item.
Should be item 56, a resolution accepting the lump sum bid of Doyle Restoration Incorporated, Pell City, Alabama, in an amount of $126,890 for the Birmingham Parking Authority, deck number 6, wall repairs. This being the lowest responsible and responsive bidder, and authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with said Doyle Restoration Incorporated in substantially the form contained within the bid documents, in accordance with said bid, providing that the total compensation payable under the contract not exceed the appropriation. Motion.
I move approval.
Second.
Our item is before you.
All right, thank you. And this item was pulled by Councilor Abbott. Thank you.
And I just had one question, and that was to ask if a few weeks ago we had it seems like there was a truck that crashed into one of our parking decks. Is this repair for that? Is this the same repair?
So, Councilor Abbott, we have Ms. Denise Bell. She'll come back and answer. She's coming back in now.
She's getting her exercise today.
Mrs. Bell.
Yes, Denise Bell again, serve as the Director of Capital Projects Division. This is actually parking deck number 6. What you heard was parking deck number 7.
Okay, so nobody crashed into this one? Our walls just falling down?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are we ready for the vote now, Councilor? All right.
All right, that vote should be up.
All right, thank you. That motion passes. Next item.
Item 61, a resolution accepting and approving the bid award of Think Safe Incorporated, Birmingham, for the demolition of special exception structures. 1, at the price on file in the Office of the Purchasing Agent for a period of 1 year for the Planning, Engineering, and Permits Department. Motion, please.
I move approval.
Second.
You gonna get a second? I'll second.
Huh?
All right, got it.
All right.
That was me again.
Abbott?
I just wanted someone to tell me what special exception structures 1 are.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Okay. So that definition is typically structures that are significantly burned and have site challenges that require a separate bid. So these are burn structures that are outside the scope of the regular demolition team.
Okay, so they might have asbestos in them or some.
It'd be a whole host of
okay.
issues.
Okay, I just wanted to know what I was approving. Thank you. That's all. I'm ready to vote.
Good question. Thank you. We'll call for the vote.
All right. That vote should be up.
Thank you. That motion passes. Next.
Item 62, a resolution approving payment to Altech Industries Incorporated, Birmingham, for the purchase of 2021 Dodge Ram 5500 WAT 37G 37-foot bucket truck at $118,065 with optional features at the unit prices on file in the Office of the Purchasing Agent in accordance with Sourcewell contract number 012418 ALT for the Equipment Management Department.
I move approval.
Second.
All right, thank you. And again, Ms. Abbott?
I did it again. And I got the answer to my question, and just to share it with everyone, I wanted to know if this was going to help out our friends in traffic engineering and or the Department of ALDOT or whatever. Anyway, the answer is yes. It's not for equipment management per se, it's for traffic engineering.
Perfect.
Thank you. That was all. Ready to vote.
Thank you for asking that question. We're ready for the vote. We'll go ahead.
All right.
I want traffic to move.
Councilor Hoyt. That vote should be up.
All right, thank you. That motion passes.
I think that's...
Do you have any other items?
I think that concludes our regular item.
And this concludes our regular items of business. At this time, we'll entertain any updates from our counselors. And let's see.
Suspend the rules again from the speakers.
Thank you.
Go ahead. No, ma'am. Go ahead. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, thank you. If we have anyone in the audience that would like to speak, we give you 3 minutes. Would you please come forward and give us your name and address?
My name is William R. Muhammad. My address is 411 Lorraine Street, Birmingham, Alabama. I wanted to come, and I appreciate the opportunity, let me say, because I feel that we all have a concern about the BWWB being overcharged for legal work. I think that's a historical concern. Board member Lucian Blankenship, when he was added to the board, he passed a resolution that we should diversify the legal work by having a legal panel. The attorneys that over there that are still over there now is reputed to have worked for a firm that was paid $60 million over 30 years. When Blankenship came in, he said, we want to set up a panel of attorneys. Now, after he made that motion, I made a motion to put caps on the legal work, that no attorney could charge over $20,000 in 1 month. I was not saying that that's all they can make, but I was saying that's all your invoice could be. If you had to let it go over to another month, that was on you. And what happened was that not only did the attorney that's there, Mark Purnell, and I'm glad we got an attorney on this city council, and we got the husband of attorney and the father of attorney, and we got the city attorney. So I just want to ask you all that if an attorney working for the waterworks takes the minutes, and I can't think of a proper word for it, so I'm going to just say change them. I've been using the word fraudulized. He added something to the resolution that was made by me, and he added it to it so that he can continue to overcharge the waterworks. Now, that's not a big deal, even though the Republican-controlled Birmingham Waterworks now will not even take up that issue. Attorney Blankenship, who is an active attorney, had the tape of the meeting where I said and made a motion that no one could charge over $20,000 in a 1 month period. He had me on tape, and they would not even allow it to be paid, the Republican-controlled BWWB. So now, since that responsibility fell on Mr. Attorney Emory Anthony as the general counsel, now is on the agenda for tomorrow to get rid of Emory Anthony and to take away the cap. And it's for that purpose only. So, in going back to the attorneys and the attorney spouses and working attorneys, I just want to say, is that not a cause? Is that not illegal that a lawyer takes and adds to the resolution, adds to the minutes to put it in, And we have proof, not only through voice, but we have proof based on copies of the minutes that I have been afforded, to where he just added something into the minutes that said that he could go over the cap, you know, when that was not approved to say about it, any of us sitting there. So, and now they want to get rid of Attorney Emory Anthony, who is a good man. And we had the same thing that happened with Bob Dickerson, who is a pillar of the black community. That council got rid of him in order to bring somebody else in. So I just want to say, do we hold any responsibility to the people we're serving to make sure that the people we appoint are serving the same people we're supposed to be serving? Shouldn't the mayor, council members, who I won't call you by name, who put people in these positions, shouldn't you be able to talk to them and ask them, what are you doing? What's going on? Shouldn't you be concerned that they are voting with the Republicans? I don't know how many of you sitting up here are Republicans, but you're appointing people to boards and they voting for the Republicans and then calling themselves good Democrats. One of them, who has just delivered a $1 million commission to his former company on the biggest bond issue that was ever done, profess himself to be a good Democrat. But he has not voted with the other Democrats on the waterworks board since he's been there, except for one time. And that was the time he was helping another Republican. So I'm just concerned, and I have to bring this because I need your help. I'm not coming up here asking you about it because I'm trying to scold or get on you or any of the things that you hadn't seemed to receive well. And I don't know how many years I've been coming up here now, Brother Hart, I don't know, 30 years or whatever, that scolding don't work. I'm asking for your help, that you express some concern, that you talk to the people that you put on and ask them, what is this that they are moving to spend all the money to rob, rape, and pillage the waterworks and legal bills? That's all I want to ask you to do.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Madam President?
Yes, sir, Mr. Hart.
I did want to say, Ms. Muhammad, thank you for coming. But there is always a process in which you can deal with folks who
I can't hear you.
You can always go to the bar. You can make a written complaint to the bar, and they have to review that.
Okay.
And based on, you know, the evidence and what have you, then they'll make a ruling, quite frankly.
All right.
That's what I ain't no lawyer, but I think they will. Is that right, lawyer?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Next speaker. Give us your name, address. You have 3 minutes, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Charlie Powell, and I'm the founder of Panic. I'm here today to ask the city department legal team what they are looking to.
Can you speak up, sir, so we can hear you?
Sorry. I'm here today to ask the city department to look into, legal department to look into the facts that we got going on down there on 35th Avenue site and provoke Bluestone permit. They operate now, but they already been operating for 2 years without a permit. How they do that, I don't know. And that should be against the law. It also says it's punishable $500 a day. And they've been doing this for 2 years, or 6 months in prison, or both. Now, the people has spoke. The last time I was here, I was telling Parker that the peoples wanted to leave, and I had a petition, and he told me to bring it. Well, I brought the petition, but I don't think I'm going to give it to him. No, not at this point here. And them people are still operating. And it was very interesting. I was listening at the situation that was going on before me. Now, we got a much serious problem than what had happened before me. Them people been doing this for years, centuries, and decades. They need to be shut down. If OSHA go through there, a plant been there 100+ years, there is no way they can come up to compliance. I was a millwright at McWayne. I worked there 12 years. And that plant is running 24/7. They have pretty good millwrights in there. They fix everything. They never shut it down. even when they've had blow-ups up there, or explosions, they don't let the news media and there, nobody. I done been there. I done done that. This been going on for decades. You know, when you start saying people's putting people's out for the situation just left, which ain't got nothing to do with this here. Them people been killing folks down there for years. I came in the last time and I had 150 obituaries. And those people didn't die of gunshot wounds or ran over by a car. Respiratory problems, heartaches, strokes, you know, diabetes. I came from a family of 16. Only 6 of us left. My wife was living in Cottesville when I married her, stage 4 cancer. William Parker, mama died of cancer. Now, he lived in this area, and now I'm not saying he the cause of it, but I'm pretty sure he could have done more than he done now. Now, the people would like to have a hearing or however y'all do this, because I've been coming here since 2012. And it's getting a little better than what it was, but it ain't like it should. The plant's still operating, so I guess they gave them a temporary permit. But if you can operate 2 years without a permit and doing the same thing that they doing now, it need to be closed. Now, if we get a hearing, I can bring all these peoples in here, but that's kind of impossible sitting back here looking at it, and I understand that. Well, I could bring them out to the park, or I could bring them into the auditorium, but this thing needs to be resolved. How does that plant keep operating like this? Then about 2 weeks ago, not about a week, I went down there to see the plant manager because I wanted to talk to him about this situation. How is he study operating like this here without a permit or somebody? Not only he don't have a city license, he don't have a permit from the health department. Now this thing here done got out of hand. How did he get there in the beginning? Well, he obtained the building from ERP. They didn't have a license and permit either. And this going on and on, talking about people's dying. This been going on for decades. I would like to tour y'all down there. And I like to say this here because this has been on my mind for a long time. It's 9 councils up there. Well, I've talked to one, and me and him was on the same page. And there's only one up there done been to the meetings up there what Panic Gill twice. Well, them 2 people I just called, they know who they are. Now, the president of District 4 lived there and never been to a meeting. And I sent him out like this all the time, and he's never been there. But this thing needs to be resolved. It done got out of hand. And well, according to the Fair Act statement, well, they shouldn't be operating no way because they done violated all of this here. And I work right along with gas. We done putting monitors down, and there's contamination there. You know, and the people have had enough. And one man can't do this by himself, and you got 9 up there. I consider 35th Avenue the super fun site. Is the forgotten neighborhood. I've heard the mayor says he's going to take care of all 99 of his neighborhood. Now, I can say this and really mean it. That was a lie. He might have took care of 96. He didn't do the other 3. Well, I got to say one thing about that. He didn't discriminate against those 3 because he didn't do nothing.
All right,
nobody.
Mr. Powell.
And it's going on and on and on. Some of the peoples up there have been there and can smell the stench and stuff that people have to go through. Now, they shouldn't even be living there. That's inhumane. And, well, last time he told me, well, you talk to Sewell, I talked to Miss Sewell, you talk to the Senate, I talked to them, you talk to Mary Moore. Most of them speak good, but Mary Moore, she don't want to move. And I don't have anything bad to say about anybody that don't want to move. I stated that relocate the people who want to be relocated, conversate the ones that want to be there. And then not only that, Mayor Mo don't live on the Superfund site.
Yes, sir. Mr. Powell, we appreciate you bringing this information and sharing it. I know you brought it to us before. What I'd like to ask, and just to clarify on one of your comments, if you would send that information out to all the councilors and give us those dates and times, then we can leave it up to the councilors that...
You mean to come to the meeting?
Yes, sir, if you'll just let us know.
That's very simple, ma'am.
Okay.
The last Thursday in every month.
Okay.
At St. Paul Church.
All right.
4699 Cheek Road.
Thank you. And what time?
6 o'clock.
Thank you. Do any other councilors have any comments? Yes, ma'am.
I just want to ask you, is Bluestone Coke the one that you're talking about that's been in violation all this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But see, they ain't had a permit when they got there.
Yeah,
They've been running for 2 years without a permit or a license.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm the name of the company, because we did receive a text from the mayor back during the campaign saying that the city was going to move against them in concert with the Jefferson County Health Department. So I think the city is taking action. Certainly the legal department knows. Maybe. I was supposed to have a meeting with the mayor, and he postponed it twice.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get some answers here now. And not only that, I went to Washington D.C. and brought the folks here, and they talked with the mayor and they had a meeting in there, and he left here saying this thing got to be rethinked. But I think somewhere in there, after I left out of there, the whole thing turned around. But so now I've been up there 4 times. And I brought them here the last time. And I can bring them back again. But if I bring them back again, it's going to have to be an open house. There's never be another closed meeting, because they wanted to be closed in. But then the peoples up there that I knew called down here, and I was able to get in there. But not only that, they had a meeting 10 minutes before I got in there. Mm-hmm. Oh, I already knew that because I was on the outside too. So what happened there, I don't know, but I can see from now. And not only that, the EPA out there, they done, I guess you'll say, a fair job of getting paid real good, because when they first came there in 2012, they supposed to have been left in 2014. Here they are still around here, done spent over $60 million, and they say they need 42 more million to finish the cleanup job. Now, we're talking about over $100 million, and you only got, it done declined a lot now. It's probably 2,500 people still. You mean you can't get them peoples out of there? But now we want it shut down. And then what they also did is rezone everything out there. I think Class C, whatever the class was, it means warehouses. Now they finna move the public peoples out there. They told them this 2 years ago, and they ain't going nowhere. That's probably what they're gonna put the warehouses. But then shouldn't the peoples out there let it be known that they don't want to live out there, even if they put warehouses up there? What's they cleaning up for? And then they not cleaning it all up. They had some places where they say, they got a boundary. So after putting pressure on them, they went into the boundary and found out it was contaminated. Well, some of my property wasn't even supposed to be tested. And I didn't really want it tested because I thought it was a conflict of interest. And when they tested and kids was there, they had to do an immediate cleanup on there. And then I passed out papers before where they gave us signs, when you go in there, wash your feet, wash your kids' toys and stuff, leave your shoes outdoors. Well, golly, you shouldn't ought to be there. You shouldn't want to be there. And why is they keeping us there? Y'all read the headlines about Oliver Robinson and all that. My opinion is more than Oliver Robinson should have went to jail. Justice wasn't served, it was just done. Now, I've been over there 43 of my 68 years. I was over there when they didn't have running water, when the cow passed around there where we was drinking the milk. They had the Irvin Davis Road, that's why they called it that. So the whole place been a disaster. And before, I think that was in the early 70s, 75 or 76, clean your air up. Man, it was raining contamination on us. And if you come down there now, it done rain, and I'll show you, I'll take you on some of my property. Look at the trees, got black soot on it. Even if it rain, it don't wash them off. You know,
yes,
the
sir,
people
Mr.
should live
Powell.
in that.
Mr. Powell, we certainly appreciate the information that you're sharing with us. What we will commit to do as the council, I know you want to speak, Mr. Hoyt, as Ms. Abbott has said, we did get some communication from the mayor, so we'll ask administration to let us know where we are from a city standpoint so that we can give that information back, and then we can reach out to those, our counterparts in the state and federal government to see what we can do, but we certainly want to do what we can do in our part for the city. And I'm going to let Mr. Hoyt talk now, if you can. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Irvin, I certainly appreciate you coming here. You know, I think that while you're getting signatures, you all might need to file a class action suit.
Well,
let me finish now, because I done heard you, and I want you to hear me, because we keep kicking this around, and you got to get with an organization that can help you. You know, and what's so strange is that we don't hear from any of the attorneys with the group that you are part of coming before this council. I think you need to get with the Southern Poverty Law Center and get somebody down there who doesn't have a connection here. And so, because it's really derelict. It's a waste of federal dollars to keep mitigating soil and the pollutant that's there. So even if you clean it up now, 10 years from now, you still gonna have a problem. You got to go in there and mitigate it again. So the city's best bet is to buy those houses out. You got $30 million, buy them houses out. It probably wouldn't even take $5 million to buy these folk out and deem it an industrial park and be done with this. Because it's not fair that we are exposing our citizens to these pollutants, just as we did, I hate to reference again, but just like we did with Village Creek. We moved the people away from the issue because Village Creek is still flooding. You know, and we spent an enormous amount of time with the Corps of Engineers and all this stuff, and I'm saying it's a waste of money. I wouldn't even put, you know, and I did try to suggest that even back then, when we had $30 million to mitigate the soil, was to buy the houses out. $30 million would have taken all the houses out and some of the businesses.
Yeah.
You know, and move the folk, and I would think as a prerequisite that if you relocate those persons, that they would have to relocate in the city of Birmingham, because you don't need to lose rooftops, you know. But I think that could be a caveat, Madam President. You know, I don't know where the leadership is going to be, but, you know, that's a great opportunity, and that's a legacy matter that we can do something about. We really can as a city. And again, Dr. King fought for environmental justice and all, and so we need to remember that as we serve in this city.
Thank you, Mr. Hoyt.
Thank you.
And Mr. Powell, thank you for bringing this issue back to us. And we've each have heard some good ideas of here to move forward. So we appreciate you for bringing that to us today.
Okay,
thank
see,
you. And
my
yes,
last
sir,
suggestion.
Yes, sir. You've taken 10 minutes. So can you give us one little thing? Yes, sir.
My last suggestion when I was here the last time, he asked me that, and I told him it would take about $30 million. This give or take a little bit. And I don't think there's much to be asking for what's going on out there. But one more question, then I will step away. And I thank y'all for letting me talk. Now, do we have to get a hearing on this, or could we get a hearing on this? Because one time I come down here and somebody said, oh, that's them again. It's going to keep on being them again until we get this resolved. So like he said, Mr. Hoyt said, this thing need to be resolved. And I'm not going to stop coming until I get it resolved.
Well, thank you.
I thank you for letting me talk.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you all. Thank you. No, I had asked, I would like to have asked that we just have one speaker to speak for the entire group. Are you all speaking on the same subject? Could we just get one of you then to speak? I'll give you 3 minutes. If just one of you will continue, if you like, please, because we already allowed 10 minutes on the same subject. Thank you. It's a very important subject, but thank you, sir. Your name, address.
My name is Lamar.
And if you pull the mic down a little bit.
My name is Lamar Mabrid. I live at 3308 Pearl Avenue North. That's in the Cottesville neighborhood. I've been a neighborhood understand for 17 years. I'm here today understand on 2 things. One is about the plant is operating. Now, I have had brothers, fathers, uncles, and all worked at that plant, not Blue Stone, but the plant itself. And during that time, understand, I came from a family of 14. Out of 14, understand, 11 understand have cancer. Just that. Fathers, uncles, I have to put everything in, but this is just immediately family. Now, this is something I really think, understand, y'all need to consider, just like y'all considered about shutting this plant, this hotel down. I've seen 3/3 of people, understand, show passion about it. All I'm asking you, understand, is for that same passion. Now, I don't want to go no further with that. Now, my second thing is, we had a meeting, a neighborhood meeting, understand, telephone. And Mr. Parker was there, and he had someone else from the city with him. Now, the question came up, I brought it up, that about having something moved in to the neighborhood without the residents have no say-so over it. They said they can do that. They don't have to notify the neighborhood what's to go on if it was zoned for commercial. I can understand that, but even at that, we still needed that right to know. And when the first one came out, he said it wasn't in my neighborhood, it's Cottesville, it was in Harrison Park. Well, Harrison Park is joined next to Cottesville. So whatever Harrison Park get, we getting the same thing. So now there's been 3 plants put there. No one knows, it didn't go through the proper procedure. And that's one of the things, understand, is it only, understand, for the people across the track that would get the right? That's all I'm asking you. Because right now, understand, there are 3 plants. We're already in a pandemic. We're already up under a cleanup. Now you're cleaning up on one end, but you're bringing that same stuff here. That's not counting the plant, what it's doing. You got people coming in, tearing down buildings, all that asbestos and all this thing is brought right here in the neighborhood. I would like to understand, just like everybody else, to leave home, understand, if I don't have to deal with the trains, but we can deal with that. But to leave home, understand, before I can get to my destination, everything is right there in my neighborhood. I would like to have beautification too. I like to have the qualification too. Then the quality of life. This is not life for us. And it should be, understand, to be looked at it from that human's point. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
But I really need to find an answer to the questions about, do this neighborhood have any right to say what comes in their neighborhood?
Thank you, and we'll address that and get an answer for you as far as zoning issues and how the neighborhoods play in those final decisions. Thank you. Do we have any other speakers outside of this particular issue? Is that all of our speakers? AJ, did you want to speak? Thank you.
Good evening to the city council, to everybody I don't know. Hey Steve, how you doing? just wanted to come to tell you guys that after the election, a lot of people have been wanting to say hey to you guys. I know y'all don't return phone calls these days, President Pro Tem, Miss Abbott. I know y'all don't return phone calls. Crystal, you and Steve, y'all may return phone calls. Daryl LaQuinn, I see Hunter in the streets. I'm glad to see you back, boss. Kevin Moore. So just wanted to say on behalf of everybody on the east side, so I'm saying from Old Viaduct, Avondale, Kingston, Woodlawn, Gate City, I just want to tell you that these people have asked me today to tell you guys that don't forget them. The voter turnout was very low, and Daryl, you and I have had conversations with Mr. Vaca, with John Boy, several people who are in the area, and people all said that, well, maybe AJ don't have that much a voice on the east side. Well, I got a young man named Daryl O'Quinn that can tell you that's a lie. And when you come to the east side, you're going to have to give reckoning to people like myself who've been out there for those young people and the older people. And like this gentleman that just left out of here from North Birmingham, it really amazes me that we have 9 very cognizant, compassionate, intelligent hearts on this council. And Steve, you made me so proud today when you talked about those 150 people who are in that hotel. And from me being from the east side and growing up and seeing that hotel change hands several times, I've never, President Pro Tem Alexander, seen young black girls work as night clerks. I've never seen Hunter Williams, Councilperson Williams, I've never seen that place get grass crews out there who were from the area. And now that I live in Roebuck, Councilperson Smithman, it bothers me when we don't have businesses that are erected and that are precise and concise about helping the neighborhoods. It seems to me that everybody now wants to be either on the council, at the county, or they want to be somewhere so they can be seen. It is not about the position. It is about what we represent. Anybody can be in the position. They can say what they want to say about Stephen Hoyt. I've been knowing him since college. Arrogant, who he is, gonna say how he feel, gonna come to you from the pulpit as well as from his heart. But at the same time, you still have to say, well, that's Steve, he's saying something worth listening. This city is being ran over, y'all. I want to hear this, but this city is being ran over by young people. And I'm finna be through, Councilperson Alexander. But this city is being ran over by young people. And y'all better get ready, because I've already armed myself mentally and in my heart to know that you're going to have to fight. These young people are not talking. If y'all know Councilperson Williams, if you know Crystal Smitherman came way from District 6 to come over there when we had that shooting in that in the Roebuck parking mall. Are y'all telling me that we got young people that can't talk to young people? We're going to have to do something very strong, Hunter, about making sure that if you shoot somebody in Birmingham, you're going to do some time. The only way you're going to turn these children and these young boys around are to get these young ladies to start being ladies again. They are telling these boys, you better go out there and get that money. I came to y'all last time and I told y'all this and y'all went to sleep on me. But if the Birmingham Police Department don't hurry up and get some young person who's adamant, who's concerned, and who ain't got to get paid to go out here and talk to these young children, you're going to have another bad winter. And next year you're going to have, now that gentleman, my senior, just got up here and talked about Valerie, Councilperson Abbott, he just got through talking about Oliver Robinson. He just talked about being older and being wiser and being more mature. And he asked this council to please look into his situation. I know Wardine Alexander. I know Valerie Abbott. I know Crystal Smitherman. I ain't talking about what somebody told me. I know Stephen Hoyt. People wonder, they say, AJ, how can you go up there and talk to them folks like that? Because they are my council people. I don't care who voted, all 9 of you. I vote in the city of Birmingham. I fought for this country. Say what you want to say. Right now, I'm hurting. I've been in the hospital, but at the same time, I walked out of the hospital on August 24th, and I was standing outside every East precinct that voted. And Darrell O'Quinn can tell you that from him seeing it for he and his wife. So I'm just saying that don't take the fact that you guys are still sitting in some of these seats for granted, especially if you're from the east side. And if you have not made an atonement with me, then you ain't made no atonement with my people. Because I can be damn for sure that you better ask. They're going to ask me who to vote for. So I just want y'all to know that just don't sit in those seats and not do nothing. And Hunter, I got to tell you to your face that I saw a new side of you that I really admire today. When you told them folks with your aide or with this young lady when the folks were calling from Atlanta, and you said, I appreciate y'all wasting our time. No, people laugh, but it's the truth. Hunter, when you ask tough questions, you get nothing. You ain't gonna be liked. Do y'all think somebody gonna like y'all? They gonna lie on y'all too. They call Randall gay. They call him crazy. He can't run the city. But for 4 more years, what you got to call him? Mayor Woodford. You gonna have to call him mayor. Now you done talked about him. You talked about his mama. You done talked about everybody. This whole administration is being watched by people who don't like y'all. They wanted to furlough. They told them lies. I was there. And before I close, I want to tell y'all that it's a lady named Shanae Edmonds Bennett. Since I've been off, it's a dude named Charles Brundage. It's a dude named Maurice that's working over there at Legion Field. It's that whole Legion Field crew. And Valerie, this is the first time, Steve, I ever been operated on in my life. And Steve, you've known me. I done moved from 240 pounds to 190, about 200 pounds. This place is stressful. And all you men start getting yourself checked out. I was walking around here like I was invincible, but high blood pressure and hypertension will put you somewhere to make you go sit down. I don't have no children, so what am I running around for asking Kevin about folks with their jobs and helping this person or trying to track down Chaz so Chaz can tell me, do we have the money to feed for people to get their checks? Let's start looking at what we're really doing. I love y'all. I want y'all to continue to lead this city. Stop sitting back. Stop letting these folk with money come to you and try to put some money in your pocket. Tell them no. Because God said, what is it that a man gains the world and loses soul?
Thank you, AJ. We're glad to see you. Hope you get speedy recovery. Thank you all. That concludes our speakers for today. Do we have any counselors that want to give any updates? Mr. Hoyt?
Well, there is a meeting this evening at the Lifting Word Worship Center for Green Acres. It's their meeting. The Five Points West Community meeting is held on Thursday. There's a Zoom meeting, and maybe we can get that on the city's website because I don't have it before me. But I got a chance to go and by the way, your sister was par excellent yesterday in her presentation.
Thank you.
That's not the first time. Nan is just that way. And I know your parents has got to be very proud because you all do command the King's English. And so, well, I need to say that. Because,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We don't hear a lot of it, but I can appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Because I just think it's important and for our young people to see that. But I thought the stadium was beautiful. I didn't go on the tour, but I'm somewhat disappointed in the fact that we don't have many African American vendors as relates to that stadium. And so the director said to me, well, we got contracts 10,000, 15. I'm not concerned about well, I won't say I'm not concerned about the 10,000 contracts. I'm concerned about the $1 million contracts, and that we don't have anybody who look like me. They got $1 million contract over there, but they're about probably 50 majority of folk who got $1 million contracts over there, and we put it in our language that we were going to ensure that African American or minority business owners get an opportunity to there, and I made it very clear when I raised the issue that we weren't talking to those who have an opportunity to build, but even after it's, built, that the perpetual kind of economics that we need, because Inslee ain't not going to ever change if money don't make it back to Inslee. North Birmingham is not going to change if the money doesn't make it back to North Birmingham. But there's a lot of money going to Mountain Brook, a lot of money going in Hoover. And last time I checked, that's not Birmingham. So I'm telling you, I'm disappointed. And I'm disappointed that the chairman, as I was mentioning about minority participation, walked off. The chairman of the board of the BJCC, whatever the place is, walked off. And so I done all I can do in raising this issue, but this council got to hold people accountable. And it's not right. But I'm gonna have some time. Amen. I'm gonna have some time. I'm gonna start showing up at your boardroom and raising these issues, because it's not fair, and we have folk who sitting there represent the city, and you did not ensure that, your mama, that's fine, that's one. That's one person, one organization. And when there's 50 or 60 opportunities, you telling me one? That's not even 10%. That's less than 1%. And I'm not going to, sit up here or be in this city and act like that's right. It ain't right. It's not. It's not fair. It's not fair to folks. I pay taxes too, as all of you do. But we got to ensure that we have some economic parity in this city. Or we're going to continue to have the blighted communities that we have, because nobody's going to be able to move into those communities and be able to transform them. It's not an accident that they're moving into to Norwood, because they got the resources, they got the jobs, and they make sure that we support these businesses. But I want to support black business too.
I mean, it's just fair, y'all. And it just really irks my heart that we done built a $300 million stadium, and little or no black folk have participated. And then you got, black folks being project managers. Listen, we know about gatekeepers. That ain't a new language for us. But that's what they do. And I'm telling you, it has to change. You're going to still have high crime. You're going to still have all these other conditions. Because money is not being... The mayor said he's going to give $100 million to contractor. Well, I want to see it. Because I'm going to hold people accountable, whether I'm here or not. Yeah. And I still have 3 minutes, like everybody and every other citizen, every other week.
Thank you, Mr. Hood.
But I'm just concerned, and when you look at the business alliance and you see all these majority folk and very few black folk, business folk that are part of that organization, and when you look at leadership and the organization of that organization, it really doesn't reflect this city at all. It doesn't. And it's wrong. And I'm saying it, and I'll go to my grave saying it. But I just needed to do that and get that off my chest, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Hood. Ms. Smitherman?
Thank you, President Pro Tem. Number one, I want to say happy birthday to my mother. She has her birthday on Saturday, so happy birthday, Mom. I think she's still listening. Congratulations to Louis and Margaret King on their 70th wedding anniversary. The celebration was this past Saturday and was lovely. And Council Hoyt, they met on the campus of Miles College.
Oh, awesome.
I know you would like that. Congratulations to the Afric International Boutique on the occasion of their grand opening this past Saturday. Stop by the Old Silver Slipper Cafe and support our new district business. And I'll have a video for that next week. I wanted to wish a happy birthday to my North Titusville president, Michael Brodnicks. I pray God continue to pour many blessings into your life. Also, we have a couple of breast cancer awareness events. I know I'll see President Pro Tem this Saturday. Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies will have her sister strut this Saturday from 7 to 11 at Legion Field. It's either in person, which will be at Legion Field, like I mentioned, starting at 7 and then at 11, or virtual if you don't feel comfortable for in person. And the Ambassador of Hope is President of Miles College, Dr. Bobby Knight. I think that's great. And it's free and open to the public. But if you want to actually participate, it's $30 for adults, $10 for kids, and $35 a day of. And also, if you register to participate, you get fish and grits or chicken and rice. Make sure to register on Eventbrite. Call 205-588-0703 or the District 6 office for any additional questions. We will have another breast cancer awareness event. Is Run with Virtue. It's a virtual 5K run. To register, go to runwithvirtue.com/race groups. Winners will be announced on race day, which is October 9th. And lastly, we are having a drive-through vaccine clinic coming to District 6. It will be Saturday, October 2nd from 9 to 1, and it will be at Southside CME Church. And they are located at 713 Martin Luther King Drive, 35211. Thank you, President Pro Tem.
Thank you, Ms. Smitherman. Ms. Abbott?
Thank you, Madam President. The next Budget and Finance meeting will be September 27th at 3:30 p.m. Submissions are due on September 22nd by 12 noon, which is tomorrow. We wish everyone to turn in their completed information written where we can understand it. The neighborhood meeting for tonight is 5 Points South at 6 p.m. at the Highlands United Methodist Church in 5 Points South. And next Monday at 6:30 p.m., Crestwood South will have their neighborhood meeting via Zoom. Thank you very much, Madam President.
Ms. Abbott, Dr. O'Quinn?
Yes, just briefly, wanted to, this has been communicated out to all of you, but I wanted to just take this occasion to remind you that on Friday here in council chambers, we will be hosting the Jefferson County City Councilors Group. This is the same group that we had probably a year and a half ago here. There's just an occasion to get to know some of the other city councilors from other municipalities throughout the county. So I encourage you guys to attend. Thank you for the folks who've already responded. Also, just want to mention that on Saturday, we will be assisting with Druid Hills cleanup that has been planned. We will meet at 8 a.m. at St. James Missionary Baptist Church. Thank you. That concludes my announcement.
Thank you, Dr. O'Quinn. Mr. Williams?
Thank you, Ms. Alexander. South Eastlake neighborhood will be meeting by Zoom this time on Monday the 27th at 6 o'clock. Like Ms. Abbott mentioned, Crestwood South will also be meeting by Zoom at 6:30 on the 27th. And Huffman will also be meeting by Zoom on Monday the 27th at 7 o'clock. And you can check the Huffman Neighborhood Association website for more info on that Huffman Zoom meeting. And that is all we have on a busy Monday night.
Oh, thank you. And Mr. Hart, I think you said you had one more item.
Well, and just wanted to mention, because, you know, consistency and fair and balance is something that I try to employ. And I'm going to say this, but I hope it's taken in the right spirit. But we gave Euphoria 90 days to come up with a plan. And here we talking about displacing folk. And, and of course, people's vote is their vote. But public safety need to be consistent. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you, Mr. Hoyt. The announcements for District 7, we will have a Utilities Committee meeting at 2 o'clock in the council chambers. As soon as we get finished here, go to lunch and come back. We'll be back at 2 o'clock for the Utilities Committee meeting. As Councilor Smitherman already announced, Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies will have their Sister Strut. We have an early start, Councilor, at 7 a.m. So we'll be out there at Legion Field. And I also want to announce that on Saturday, September 25th, the Mount Hilliard Baptist Church in the Garden Highland neighborhood, they'll be partnering with the Valladale Church and participating in One Birmingham Day. And so they will be beautifying around the grounds at Jones Valley Middle School, which is over in District 7. They start at 8 a.m. on Saturday. If you allow me, please indulge me. My son Gregory will turn 38 years old on September 25th. And so I'm always...
Mama 38 and me 38.
So I'm always happy when we have this opportunity to celebrate, especially the things that have gone on with him. I'm just very happy. And he's out working, y'all, back to work. So great, great, great. And we do have one neighborhood meeting tonight at the Garden Highlands neighborhood. We'll be meeting at Mount Hilliard at 6 o'clock. Thank you all.
Madam President, and
yes.
May I just share with folks that I had an opportunity to sit with one of the utility companies, and they were saying how well and how balanced you have led that committee, and I just wanted to share that with you. They didn't,
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And so that's good to hear that you really worked very diligent in making that committee work like it needs to. And so I want to just say kudos to you.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Mr. Williams, will you get us? Thank you. Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.